Start recording. Right. Yes, we have audio.
The technical man sorted it.
We have audio. Now let me just see. Broadcast settings. We broadcasting in HD?
I don't know.
That doesn't look HD to me. Should we just do it like this now, and then we can worry about the next time? We're live anyway.
Yeah.
So
well done.
Might as well, you know. Hey guys, can you guys hear us? Can you give us a let us know that you can hear us, basically, by typing in yes or no. Oh, okay, here we go.
We are working. Cool.
Alright, cool, that's sorted. So hey everyone, my name is Manesh Bindi, and this is Andy Shaw. Well, that is Andy Shaw. Thanks very much for joining us for the first episode of Wealthy Minds Decoded. The idea for this show is to really bring our expertise together, with Mind with Gold for Life and with Andy's with a Bug-Free Mind, and talk about how the 1%, not the 99%, but the 1% invest, or think and invest. So you can find out how you can implement what the 1% are doing from a mindset point of view, from an investment point of view, and get into the 1% at some point. So
yeah, that's right. I'd like to add to that. It's really business, wealth creation, lifestyle, and that sort of thing, all to do with creating the mindset around money you need to have to just basically live the life you want to live, really, and just enjoy yourself.
Yeah. And we are... Somebody said picture is back but still no sound. Can you guys hear us? No, I guess not. Right, okay. Sounds awesome.
Sounds awesome.
So the sound's working.
Cool.
But why are these... refresh. How can I can't check in because I'm no longer on Facebook.
Right, okay. What do you want
Actually,
me to...
I could check in via Twitter. Right? I can do this.
You can do
we
this.
We can do this.
We're
in this together.
Experiencing technical difficulties on this first live broadcast. The person responsible for the technical difficulties. No, everyone knows it's not me, so now I can't do this sort of stuff. Do you have to keep leaning on my chair?
Yeah, I do, because I'm trying to nudge to you. Yeah. Okay, hold on. Right, I'm in now. No sound. Please fix. Refresh. If you have. Right. Nicola's online. Hi, Nicola. Nicola, can you hear us? We can confirm it like that. And then, unless I can put a message on the screen, that would be smart, wouldn't it?
That would be smart,
but I can't.
So
sound is fine for Nicola, right? So everyone else needs to just refresh. Cool. So yeah, do you want to?
Oh, it's your first.
Okay, cool. So what were we talking about? First is, well, firstly, do you think we want to discuss what the importance of a show like this? Because there's no other show like this.
Sure. Yeah, we really want to cover why we're doing it.
Why? Yeah.
Firstly, it's really a case of we love talking about how things work, how people's minds work, how to get into it, how successful people achieve what they do, and really pull it apart at the base level so that you can basically replicate it. So what we do, because we mastermind regularly and that sort of thing, what we do is we take something apart, work out how it all works, and then basically structure it into our life, and then we go and create a success out of it. Yep. So what we're doing here is really just taking apart what everybody does and dissecting it in such a way that you can replicate it. That's the idea. So if we haven't explained it well enough, if we haven't gone deep enough, the idea is you go, no, I don't get it. Tell us more, and we go deeper, because it's a case of you're helping us here get a greater understanding of what it is, because the idea is that we can break these parts so that we can teach it in the simplest way possible.
Yeah.
So some of this is going to be like raw stuff that we haven't gone into before, because somebody will ask a question at the right time. We've got a few core subjects we'll go through, but then somebody will ask a question and it'll really start to dig in deep. And if we haven't explained it so that you get it, yeah, just hit the comments button and ask us to go deeper, or go through the subject in a different way, or I don't understand it because of this, but what about it's affecting my life from a completely different angle. So really, that's it. You know, it's really an open show. We're just here to basically make it easier for people to succeed, and we love talking about this stuff. So,
which we both like to do. You know, it's in our respective businesses, I think we thrive on watching other people succeed.
Absolutely,
because it's so easy once you got the formula.
Yes.
And the problem is that the way the systems have been set up, like the education system and the way the world is set up, the 1% haven't made it easy for people to follow it, because nobody actually sits down and breaks down what they're thinking.
Yeah, but that's because most of the time they don't actually know themselves how they do it, sort of thing. They just do it.
That's true. So, guys, one of the things that we wanted to talk about first was, on the list it says how Minesh was never conditioned to go work for money.
Go to work for money, mate.
Go to work for money.
That's good.
Go to work.
So how were you never
money.
conditioned to go to work for money?
Well, I didn't. If people that don't know me, which would be like one person on the call, really, everyone else should know me, right?
I doubt that, mate.
Right. So I started when I was 14. I got a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad, and from my dad, and because I wouldn't listen to him, so he said, read this book. And after I read that book at 16, I started negotiating property deals, because I was confident on the phone. So I said, hey, he was doing it anyway, so I said, let me try one. And then after we started negotiating property deals, I went and did my own first property deal at 17 going on to 18, which is £1 million worth of property with a £68,000 cash. Remember those days with the cashbacks?
They were very nice days.
Good days, weren't they?
We enjoyed those days.
I love those days.
Yes.
Right, so got a £68,000 cashback, went to Monaco, blew 10 grand in a weekend in Monaco, which was it was actually fun. You know, a lot of people regret that sort of thing. I don't. Right, that was a lot of fun. And so I've always been, and then started looking at the stock market and gold and silver, and then started teaching this stuff, because a few people said to me, you're sharing it, I mean, you're doing it, so why not share it? So we started teaching it. So I guess I've always been around.
You did. You were telling me at lunch that you did your first seminar and were selling at the age of 16.
16.
Your first
deals.
seminar.
Yeah. Property
and so
deals.
Basically, Minesh sold from the stage at the age of 16 and sold £20,000 worth of deposit in the room, which is excellent. You know, it's a case of public speaking is the #1 fear of most people, and he crushed that at the age of 16. I mean, I still had a fear of public speaking in 2004, and it was only in 2006 when I actually looked around and I'd done 2 or 3 speaking engagements, and I realised I'd actually cured my, I just got over it, and I didn't really figure out how I'd got over it at the time. But the secret was, when you have something to say, it's a case of it's easy to go and speak. And when you're passionate about something, and the more and more detail you get into it, you become cleverer and cleverer on that subject, and all of a sudden you become a bit of an expert on it. And obviously when you're younger, the confidence is there, so he was never conditioned to go to work for money. He was conditioned to create money.
Yeah, and I think that was the best gift and the blessing that I've ever had, because even though the disadvantage of that was I couldn't empathize with people, right? So I couldn't understand.
Really?
Right? I couldn't understand when people said money is hard to get, or money is, it's hard to make money for me on a job basis level. I couldn't understand it, because it was just like, you're talking rubbish. But I never could empathize.
His reality was it was easy to make money, so therefore it was easy to make money.
It was like, why do you think it's hard? And I couldn't, and that made me very I guess the drawback to it was it made me very emotionless to those people, and that was where I had to disconnect, and I had to learn about how the world really works without losing the lessons that I'd also had. So I could help those people get to where I was. So that's really how I was conditioned. It was I didn't notice it until Andy started saying it, and a few other people started saying it, and it's all down to my dad, really, who said, don't do that. Don't listen to the morons, and and listen to the smart people.
Okay.
So, do you have anything to add on to that?
No,
How can people replicate that? I think that's one thing. That's important.
How can people replicate it? What it is you know, I'm going to just cover some. I apologise if I covered this before in something, but it's a case of as we age, we get more and more messy. Yeah, our minds get more and more messed up, and so the problem is to try and bring. His advantage was he was 16 when he tried to do it. You know, it's a case of if it had been a few years later and he tried the same thing because the environment had changed, and his first few experiences of it might have been, oh, it is hard, you know, and that sort of thing. He might not have been able to get over it. Now I've got a mindset that it's a case of I love it when somebody tells me something can't be done. That to me is now. What happens is, you know, when people say your family or your relatives will say, "Oh, you shouldn't even try and do that. That can't be done. You can't do that," or something like that. Now, most people, it's a spiralling downwards situation when that happens. It's like their goals are knocked backwards. But as far as I'm concerned, I look at it and think, well, the hell do you know about it? You know, it's a case of, well, are you an expert on it? Have you gone where I'm intending to go? No, therefore you're no use to me in this thing. And to me, it's a case of, right, I'm going to just do it now to prove you wrong. So it's a case of, not in a nasty way, but I'm doing it for me. So it's a case of, it's like a drug. It's like, cool, yeah, I'll have some of that. What can't be done? Yeah, I'll have some more of that. And it's just a case of, I get into it and I get into the zone and just make stuff happen. And it's really because your mind, if you've got a blockage where it's a case of you can't really make it, you can't seem to get past it. You know, you've got to release that first. You can't just go, right, well, I'm going to create money this week. It's a case of you have to just learn to relax a bit.
I think it's important that people, from a mindset point of view, the money's not the objective, if that makes sense.
Money's a way of keeping score.
Exactly. It's when I started negotiating property deals, what I loved about it was I was 16 talking to 50-year-olds, and in my mind it was stealing 50 grand of property off of them because I was negotiating the discounts much better than anyone else could. So that's what it was. It was the buzz of just doing the actual deal. It wasn't like I wasn't going out there to make the money. Even with gold and silver, it's not going out there to make the money. It's, you know, the amount of people that we're helping with Gold for Life protect their wealth over the next 3 to 10 years is amazing. So that's what it's about.
It's fun, yeah. It's the game. The problem is that when you're actually looking at it, you're trying to make money for the sake of the money because you need it to do something. It's the wrong way to go about it. You know, it's a case of money's something. You know, money's an effect what happens after you provide value. So you just go and you work on. You have the fun of providing the value, and as you go and provide the value, and then people get reward. You know, they achieve what you've offered them. You know, it's a case of everything. It's like, look at Facebook. It's a prime example of, you know, they're giving you something for free. They're providing a great value, and they looked at the money later. You know, it's a case of they got venture capital funding, so they could actually do that. But that's effectively what happens. You know, money will follow after you create value. So all I look to do, I don't really consider the money. I look at it very from a very small point of view of, right, okay, well, yeah, as long as I do this series of events, you know, if I follow this formula, then the money will follow. But I'm not really interested in, oh well, if I sell that many books or I sell that many courses or whatever it is, I'll make this amount of money. That really doesn't matter. What you just purely focus on going to give, and then getting happens automatically.
Yeah, I learned this in a big way, in a whole, because I knew it, but you know when you know something and then you know it,
there's a bit of a difference.
There's two different things, right? And I really understood know to my core when we went out to Dallas, when I spoke at Mega Partnering in Dallas. And that was a great event, but I only went to go literally to give, because JT was like, listen, you're coming down. JT's the organizer, and he said, you're coming down. We've got Steve Wozniak, we've got Eric Trump, we've got Brett Michaels, loads of other people. You can't sell. right? You can't sell because you just got to come and give value. So I thought, okay, cool. I'd love to meet Eric Trump, and I'd love to meet Steve Wozniak. So, and JT's very cool as well, and Raymond Aaron was there, and loads of other people. So I said, okay, cool. I'll come and just give loads of value. And in giving that value, suddenly we've got opportunities that are
Absolutely, yeah.
you know, we got a venture going on in Vegas.
Let's talk about that for a second. Here we go. One thing, we were on the plane over, and I said, "What are we going to Dallas for?" And we're on the plane going.
Because Andy decided to come for fun,
right?
And he was like, "Why not? It feels right."
No, the full story. The full story.
The real story.
The real story. I sat down and I was watching a film called Pirates of Silicon Valley, and it was a story of Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, and that sort of thing. And I was watching through the film, and there was a bit in the film came up, and Steve Wozniak was Steve Jobs' partner in Apple, and they sold Apple for 150 million, or they brought in
venture
partners
funding,
or whatever it was. Yeah. And Steve Wozniak just turned around and he went, "No, that's it. I want out of this now." And I thought, wow. He's on the cusp of the cutting edge of a company in computing, and he was wise enough then to realise he didn't want to do it with his life. He just wanted to do what he loved, and he didn't love it anymore. And he was getting out, and I thought, wow, what a wonderful mind that is. God, I'd like to meet him sometime. And that was it. That was a passing thought. And woke up the next morning, and Steve Jobs had died. And anyway, I thought, oh, yeah, I'd really like to meet Steve Wozniak now, especially as this had happened. And it was about a couple of months later or something. He said, "I've been asked to speak in Dallas. Do you want to come along?" And it's like, well, of course I want to come along, because I love going on a jolly. I love the lifestyle we get to lead and that sort of thing. But I do have a wife, and
I don't.
Yeah, he doesn't. And it's a case of, well, you have to sort of, structure these things properly.
Especially when you say, "What are you going to do?" Go and have loads of fun.
Loads of fun. Because
go and see the grassy knoll. And I'm going with Minesh.
Well, somebody didn't know who the grassy knoll was. But the point is that I go to these things because I know that something's going to come from it. I don't know what. I just know something's going to come from it. But I go there with the intention of giving, knowing that getting's automatic. Anyway, so he got me to go and have a look on the website, and I had a look on the website. And there's a picture of Steve. There's a video with Steve Wozniak coming to speak at this thing. And I went back to him. I said, "Yeah, all right. I'll tell you what. I'll come along if you introduce me to Steve Wozniak." Yeah, because obviously he was a speaker, so I get to introduce him. Good to his word, he introduced me. Anyway, this whole point that was how I ended up being there. We're on the plane, and we're flying in, and we're a couple of hours outside of Dallas, flying in. And I went, "What are we going to Dallas for? We should be going to Vegas, right? Because Vegas is one of my favourite places.
By the way, guys, this is the extent to which we put effort out.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
Yeah, this is about it. Is creating abundance and that sort of thing. This is abundant thinking. So I went, well, we should be going to Vegas instead. I said, what we need to do, and I turned to him on the plane and said, what we need to do is we need to manifest getting paid to speak in Las Vegas.
Because that would work.
Because it was like, yes, I can think about this. I can see me being paid to speak in Las Vegas. Yeah, I can see this happening. Yeah, I can conceive that. Okay, let's now that we know what we want, because this is the key to everything, finding out what you want. Now that we know what we want, we can now let the universe conspire to help us find out. Anyway, so when my business development manager Pete eventually woke up, and we said to him, right, okay, I've had an idea. We need to manifest speaking in Las Vegas. Okay. Right, okay.
So that was his mind. So there's three minds.
Yeah, because Pete loves Vegas as well. Because Pete and I used to go there quite often. Nesh hasn't actually been there yet, so of course he wants to go along as well, because he's got these two old guys saying, "You want to go to Vegas? It's really cool." And that was it. So anyway, one night we're in the
after the event, we decided let's go hotel bar hopping.
Yeah,
because that's what you do as speakers and professional people. And we decided to take a couple of people that we'd met at the event, Jason and who else was there? Alex.
Yep.
Mike. Ty was there. So a few people, and we said let's go. So we went to the W Hotel, and we're sitting in the bar. Ty had brought over these women, and he's just the master anyway. And then we, Pete and Jason were talking, right?
Yeah, that was it. Pete came over. He says, I've been chatting to Jason about.
And Jason is a
very
cool guy, and he's
built a Fortune 500 company from scratch and sold it. So,
he's lived the whole entrepreneurial dream cycle, basically.
Very much. He's American, but we won't hold that against him. The only kidding.
No offense to the
the vast majority of the people on the other side of the camera. So anyway,
look, our viewer count has just dropped.
Yeah,
dropped by 30%.
Anyway, well look, we're allowed to abuse me too, right? It's not an issue.
Yeah, but you can't hear them.
No, I can see it on the screen.
Oh right, no, yeah, that's true.
So anyway, Pete was chatting to Jason, and they came over and said we've got an idea to put an event on in Las Vegas. We were listening to the event. It was like, yeah, this sounds pretty cool. And so I said to Manesh, I said, well, that's not bad, is it?
That was quick.
That was quick. We manifested that. Now it looks like we're going to do an event in Las Vegas. So anyway, it's all just hypothetical. Well, earlier this week we had a 4-way Skype chat.
Because we don't know what's been going on. We're just like, we'll be involved.
So Pete and Jace have put everything together, and they've got all the details done. And so this week we had a brainstorming session, and to really pull it together. And so, on the call, of course, both of us can tap into our subconscious, and it was a case of we were able to take the idea, and Jason came up with some brilliant stuff, and so did Pete, in fairness, even though he's not that clever usually. But he came up with some absolutely brilliant stuff. Jason did, not Pete. And he came up with it.
Pete was in the office.
He's not watching.
He's not watching.
No, he's not watching tonight. Right, he's not there tonight, so it's a case
of screw Pete.
Yeah, no, don't do that. Right. Anyway,
you said he's not watching, so you might as well take the most advantage of the abuse that we can.
Just check the comments because he might be on the other.
Right. Yeah.
So anyway, we came up with this stuff, and Manesh came up with a brilliant idea to take it even further. And
to tell them how the evolution comes along, right? We've both been looking for deals that are going to take our net worth to the $100 million level, right? Big time, because we're fed up with the small time, right?
Oh, I'm okay with the small time.
No, but you know what I mean, right? We've got bigger dreams, right?
Yep.
And it started with a view to get 30 people who had...
Yeah, in fairness, yes. All right, okay. The evolution of it was very simple.
Jason's online. Hey, Jason.
We're giving you lots of praise here, mate. The evolution of it came up with... Originally, it was like, oh, right, well, get 30 people to the room who've got, sizable contact lists and that sort of thing, and we can do joint ventures together, which is one of the best guerrilla business tactics there is, because it's a case of you can grow your business without any money and that sort of thing. And we all do this, and it's one of the best ways of growing your business. And anyway, it was like that. And then Jason took it, and no, we don't want to do 30 people. We want to do 500 plus people, right? And it wants to be this. And I'm like, no, that's no. Yeah, we don't want to do that, because I was thinking, nice few days in Vegas, champagne, having some really good time. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking wonderful lifestyle and that sort of thing. And then Jason's turned it into this wonderful business model. And it's, this is really cool. This is okay, I can see this. And then once it flipped round, we're all getting behind it, and we're pushing it and going to the next level and the next level and the next level. And it's an evolution. But what we've done is we've had to work at it from a point of view of, right, well, how do we make it work with the smallest amount of input at the start to actually manage to make the greatest effect? And we think we've come up with a pretty cool structure, that looks like it's going to work extremely well. Is that it?
Yeah, we basically went from 30 to now trying to find
several thousand people.
And that was no effort.
Yeah,
that was what I wanted to convey. There was no effort, because we're doing something good. It's going to help a lot of people, add loads of value. We're in it for the fun, not even the money. And so it's just growing. Yeah.
So this concept, this is very, very true. Yeah. Let's cover the while we're in it for the fun, not the money. What we're getting is what the people who are going to go along are going to get is the biggest problem the businesses have is they don't know how to create extra revenue in a recession. Yeah. So they think, right, well, I need extra revenue. Well, I'm going to increase my marketing spend. I'm going to increase my infrastructure and all that sort of thing. Whereas the simple, easiest way to increase revenue in a recession is to go to a company that doesn't conflict with what you do, and put together a joint venture where basically they will mail your products or your services to their subscriber base. That's it, and effectively you end up doing business. You cut them in for a fair chunk of the profits, and you end up doing a joint venture whereby your business basically brings in money, which is almost all profit. Now this is one of the safest ways to protect your business long term, because what will happen is these things come along just to boost your cash flow, and that's how you can survive going up in the next few years of the recession. There are countless businesses out there that basically have huge mailing lists, and all you have to do is find the business that's got the right demographic for your business and joint venture with them, and that's it effectively.
It's simple.
Very simple.
You know, so we've been creating value for a lot of... Sorry, by the way, guys, if I look down, what I'm trying to look at is making sure the chat stream and everything is working and see if we're getting any questions. So I'm not being rude. Slightly. Not
you were being rude,
not 100% being rude. So yeah, we're just going to give, and we're going to... And what about... Let's talk about this show.
Go on then.
How we created this show. Because even with this show, we were like... Because we did a broadcast for my students, because I wanted to teach my students about psychology of investing. And so I thought, okay, cool. Who do I know that's awesome at mindset? And obviously Tony Robbins wasn't available. Right? So I thought instead of helping 5% of my list, I could help 100% of them.
That's not me.
And so we did a broadcast together of teaching people how to set their intentions and everything. And we said that was good fun the next day.
Well, we had a load of feedback from, I'd imagine, quite a few people on the call that basically said, you should do that again. Right? So we're not loose enough yet, so I'll crack open a bottle of sparkling wine.
I think you should do that. I think
yeah, okay.
It's time.
Well, you talk for a minute and I'll...
Yeah, so we were thinking, how can we... People said you should do that again. It was a lot of fun. And we thought it was a lot of fun too. And not only that, we spent sort of the afternoon... we had lunch and everything, and we came up with some really good ideas for what we're doing. And we thought... So not only are we helping a lot of people, we're also having lunch together and coming out with some awesome ideas. So we should do this. And we thought, what's the easiest way for us to do this? I said, hey, Ustream is pretty cool. I think once a month we could do it. Have a podcast off the back.
Hey, that just did it itself, that did. I could do this over you if you wanted.
So that is a hole in my ceiling. No, I'm only kidding. So that was fun.
I thought that's going.
I was wondering, right, when he's holding it and he's taking the cage off and he's just looking at it, I thought that bottle has been flying around the car all afternoon.
Yeah, I suppose so, yeah.
Why isn't he holding the top of it? Anyway, so that wasn't a distraction at all.
You lost your train of thought,
I've lost my train of thought, totally. Right, so then, in regards to the show, we thought, this is a lot of fun. How can we do this? What's the easiest way? Ustream. Let's do Ustream. And then one of my team members, I said, okay, what you're going to do is turn this into a podcast and get it all sorted. Least effort. It's taking about, what? In terms of actual work, how much actual work are we doing for this? 20 minutes yesterday deciding what was going to go in the show, because this isn't work for us. No, we have this type of conversation without you guys watching. So having you guys watching is not extra work for us. Cheers, by the way.
Cheers. Okay.
Cheers, you guys.
What we do is, it's all about breaking down what it is and finding out what's working, what isn't. I mean, I love the conversions, statistics, mathematics, and that sort of thing. And I ran a survey yesterday. I'm sure some of you guys answered that survey. And the feedback you get from running a survey is just brilliant, because you get to see what people are really thinking. You know, the trouble is, when you sit behind a computer and you're trying to do it, you can't really. You think you can assess what people want, but it's until you get the feedback you don't know. You know, and it's that really does help. So this sort of thing is designed to really figure out what people want and need, and if there's any real blockages where it comes to, you know, the mindset to get somewhere. We'll just take them apart. That's really the show. So the idea is go to give, and we don't expect anything from it. It's really a case of let's see what happens. We're not in a rush, so it's really one thing at a time.
Yeah, just going to create a lot of good content. You guys will be able to come back to it, take action on a lot of it, and yeah, hopefully you guys will share it.
Is that hopefully, was it? Right.
You know what I mean.
Go
when
on
I
then.
say
What's the next thing then?
Right,
next subject.
Just had a question from Steve Roberts. He said, should we do the questions later?
It's up to you.
All right, cool.
No, do a question. I'll answer.
He said, is there a difference, because we just talked about Dallas, right? Is there a difference between mindset regarding the recession between the UK and the US?
Well, the UK doesn't seem to have woken up to the fact that we're in a recession.
We haven't felt it yet.
Yeah, it's a case of everyone's sort of there's no real feeling. You know, the only way you could actually tell there's a recession on is really watching the news and getting told there's a recession on. There is, because some businesses are feeling it, but we had a wave of businesses going under and that sort of thing, and the wave they're still going under, but it's not as seen as much. The government's really laying off a lot of people, and we're seeing that. But a few years ago I wrote what the government should do is they should lay off stacks of people, but give them a hell of a lot of money, 18 months salary, give them a load of training, and show them how to become entrepreneurs, and that will pull the country out of the recession.
They can't do that because the government doesn't know how to create entrepreneurs.
Exactly. The government's dealing with the problems today. They're not dealing with the problems for tomorrow.
Exactly.
So but now they're actually giving 2 years' salary to people at times when they're making them redundant, which is amazing. So they paid them for another 2.5 years after I first suggested it, and now they're given 2 years' salary. So we've got that going on, but it's not. What I saw in America, there was a lot of people were suffering, whereas we don't. Maybe it's a case of we live in, we're in Canary Wharf in London, which is one of the most affluent place in the country. So it's a case of we don't get a lot of exposure here, and I live in a village in Sussex, and it's pretty good. There's a few people being made redundant and that sort of thing, but it hasn't really hit. It hasn't really bitten. But when you actually go to the high street and you drive along a high street, and the number of shops that aren't there anymore, that's quite an impression. But still, it hasn't hit in the same way yet.
I think because in the US what happened was they had the first bailout, if whatever you want to call it, right? They had the first bailout, which wasn't implemented very well from the government's perspective. So the banks took all the money and they said, we're not lending out, screw that.
Oh yeah.
Then the UK had its first bailout, I think approximately 1.5 to 2 years after that, which meant what the UK government did was, rather than having all the bad media that the US did, they made sure that the banks used that effectively, or a bit more effectively than the US. So what happened in the US was there was a bailout, everyone got made redundant, and that was it. The banks didn't do anything in terms of helping people. And also, in the US, like the UK, it's much easier in the UK to get social help, to get welfare. And the problem with that is that you come out of a job and you go and sign on. So you're getting some money in. Whereas in the US, I saw people when we were driving around Dallas, there were guys with signs standing on the side of the road saying, we'll work for food.
Yeah.
We haven't seen that yet in the UK.
The social security over here in the UK, I've got a friend whose sister, she's able to work 16.5 hours a week, and she gets about £1,600 a month benefits. And to give you an idea of what that is in dollars, is probably about best part of $2,500. And she would need to earn the equivalent of $35,000 a year, or about $55,000
to have the same lifestyle.
So so that's higher than the average wage in the UK. So we've got a system that's basically broken, and she's not going out of her way to exploit it or anything. That's just what she's entitled to. Yeah. So it's a case of the system is very badly broken over here, but because it's broken, they're going to keep playing all the time. They can keep printing money, and as soon as they can't print money anymore, well then
that's when we'll feel it.
Yeah, that's when it's going to be felt. There was something that came up. We were talking about this week about how the what did you call it? The fractional. I can't remember what it was.
Marginalisation.
The marginalisation of banks. Banks can only keep gold, and they get. It doesn't count as pure cash. Only counts as 50% cash.
Yeah.
Now,
and their credit ratings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in other words, what's happened in the last week? They've changed the ruling on that.
No, they haven't changed the ruling yet. It's being proposed
It's being proposed.
in Basel 3, yeah.
Yeah. Now, if they change that, then banks effectively will buy lots of gold.
Because it's like saying, guys, if I've got $50 billion in cash reserves, I can either hold it in US dollars, which means I get the benefit of saying I've got 50 billion in cash reserves, or I get to hold it in gold, which is a safer asset, much safer asset than the US dollar, but I can only say I've got 25 billion in cash reserves. That was the problem. Now they're going to get rid of that, which is the first introduction to gold since Nixon took us off the gold standard, as gold being reintroduced as real cash when the banks can fill up their vaults with gold and put it on their balance sheet as cash reserves.
So what do you think that's going to do
to the gold price?
To the gold price.
So we haven't even felt anything yet.
Yeah. So there's a lot of changes still to come in yet that they're going to have to do, because basically the banks need more money. So it's a case of their balance sheets are looking very, very weak. So this is a suggestion to make the balance sheets look a bit stronger. What that's going to do is it's going to cause a spike in the gold price. Right?
Yeah. But in terms of the feeling, we haven't felt it yet to the deepest point. And the good thing about the US is you guys have felt it. And the majority of the smart entrepreneurs are now asking the question, what do we do next? Whereas until we get to the point of what do we do next, we're never going to improve. Right now, everyone's worrying about it now.
Yeah.
And the problem is, you need to ask, what are we going to do next? And all the smart entrepreneurs in the US are doing it. So that's my perspective on that question. Right, what's next? What do we want? We wanted to discuss. Where is it? Right, here we go. It would help next time if we had a printout.
A printout
of the stuff that we wanted to discuss.
That would involve a bit more work.
That's true, you know.
Indeed, yeah.
We could put it on Evernote.
You could.
And then that work.
That would do it, yeah.
Right.
If you remember to put it on Evernote, yeah.
No, that would require work. Right. I need to get a PA.
Yeah. PA's good.
I could get my PA to do it.
Outsource.
I could get my PA to do it. That would be cool. Right. Anyway, how Andy discovered the bug-free mind process thanks to the Allison predicament. Auntie Allison's not gonna like it if I call it predicament, am I?
She got the knock when we said she saw the word Allison in the top. Allison in it.
She didn't like it.
No, she said, "What are you going to say about me?" I said, watch the show.
Watch the show.
I'm not watching the show.
She's watching. She might be watching.
Yeah,
secretly.
She might be watching. When I was told this story before, so I apologise if I cover it, but I'm sure I'm going to cover a few points that I may not have said. When I was, I've got to get the right year now, otherwise I'll be in trouble. When I was 21 years old, I'd finished with a girlfriend, and I thought, I don't know why, but one day I just thought, this is dumb. This is absolutely stupid the way we're supposed to find our perfect partner. This is stupid. So you're just going to rely on the fact that you're going to bump into the person
in a club,
while you're drunk, or something like that, while you're drunk, that you're going to spend the rest of your life with. That's going to happen, is it? And I thought this is
and they're going to be of good taste and quality,
and they're going to find you attractive when you're drunk like that, right?
And they're going to have a good mindset.
Yeah, you're going to have everything you want in that person. So I thought this was madness. Yeah, I thought this was completely mad the way we were doing it, and I don't know. I didn't talk to anybody about this. It was a case of, I thought, I don't want to put my life and throw a dice and go, oh yeah, I found somebody that I can share my life with. I didn't want that. I wanted the person. So there was something came up on the survey I did yesterday, and a lady said how I can get. I hope that the right man will choose me, or something like that. Now the problem is that,
just to let you know, Pete's watching.
Pete's watching, is he? Well, after the abuse we gave him,
yeah.
Right? So what I did was I sat there and went, right, okay, well, I'm going to design the person I want for my life. And so I sat down and I drew in minute detail every detail of the person I wanted. I wanted somebody that was within a 10-mile radius of where I lived. I wanted somebody that was living or working within 100 yards of where I drove through. I wanted somebody who looked a certain way, had certain colour hair, who dressed a certain way. I wanted somebody whose parents weren't divorced, who had an elder brother. I wanted somebody who basically was looking for somebody like me to have a long-term relationship with. I was looking for somebody that was confident in herself. I was looking for somebody that, I mean, I went through every detail. It was a Sunday morning, and I just sat down and I just listed out point after point after point after point of what I wanted in a person. And I got to the point of going through this when all of a sudden it went from me wanting that person to me realising that that person was now looking for me. Yeah? So it switched over. So the more detail I put into it, the more I became certain that that person was actually out there looking for me. And it wasn't a case of, you know, I was looking for a particular person, that sort of thing. It was, a specific person. I wasn't going, I want her. I was going, I want this person. Yeah, this person who's got all these characteristics and that sort of thing. And so then what happened was I thought about it, and the next day, as it happened, I drove and I actually saw her. I didn't actually talk to her. I just glanced at her and I thought, oh, she's quite nice, as you do. And anyway, within about 2 weeks, I'd identified, you know, 3 potentials. And very quickly, I narrowed it down to the one I wanted, sort of thing. And then I designed a way of sweeping her off her feet, and basically swept her off her feet. And that was it. You know, we ended up going out, and within 3 weeks, I think it was, and we've been together ever since. It was 24 years the other week.
Aww.
It wasn't 24 years of marriage, but it was, you know, I don't know how many years of marriage, 15, 16 years of marriage, something like that. So the important thing was that I designed it, yeah, and I'd basically created a process that enabled me to basically go and get whatever I wanted. And so I thought,
because you were doing this before,
yeah,
but this time it was apparent because
Yeah.
you did the same process. You thought, because I remember you telling me, you thought this was just working with business.
yeah.
Then you decided to apply it to attracting your wife.
Yeah, it was a case of, at the time, I wasn't actually in business at the time. I'd intended to go into business, but I'd done it before when I was a kid, but I hadn't done it in such detail, you know, when I wanted to buy a computer and things like that. And I sort of just decided what I was going to have and drew it out, and yeah, that's going to work. And you know, one thing that really brought this home was when I heard Steve Wozniak speak, and he said how that he couldn't afford to buy the components for computer parts. So what he did instead was he designed the circuit diagrams for components that didn't actually exist yet. So it wasn't even if he could afford to buy them, they hadn't even been invented, but he knew that they would be invented one day. And so he drew these things when he was at home, because he couldn't go out with, he wasn't very good with girls at the time. And as he said on stage, he said, I thought I'd never get married, but he was wrong. But what he did was, then what happened after 5 years, of course, those components had come into existence. And so his buddies in the computer design club they were in were trying to get these things to work, and they couldn't get the circuit diagrams to work. And of course, he'd realised that he'd actually got all of these drawings sitting at home. So he went back and he was able to bring them in. He designed the world's first PC and that sort of thing, and Apple was born. The point is that when you sit down and you design what you want, you don't need to hope things are going to happen and rely on good fortune. You just design it, you know. And that's how I created the bug-free process. I didn't realise I created it at the time. I didn't realise I created it for another 20 odd years because it was just something I did. I didn't give it any thought. I did the same thing when I was doing a book and other businesses, and I'd sit there and just design it. And I'd go, yeah, this is what we want. Right, no, we don't want that. And I'd just sit down and structure it all, and then that would happen. And usually when things went wrong, it was a case of because I hadn't designed an element of it. So the more detail,
and only that part would go wrong.
Yeah, only that part would go wrong, but it would be a case of, oh right, okay, so what didn't I do right? Well, I didn't put enough detail into it. So I'd go back and I'd do the next one and I'd detail it more, and that was it. And I just literally created. It wasn't like I wasn't going, I want this and I need this. It was a case of no, I designed it to a point where it became obvious that it was going to happen. To anybody looking at it, you looked at it and went, wow, well, that much detail, yeah, this person must exist. You know, and sure enough, she did exist, and sure enough, I've used it countless times for anything I want, basically. Whereas what happens is when you get really, really good at it, like we did with the Dallas situation, it was a case of, right, we need to, when I say the word need, I don't need as in you know, I must have this. I say need as in I expect to have.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a big difference.
It's the meaning behind the word.
So when I'm in it, it's like if I say want, it's because you know I want, but I intend to have. And what you've got to do is you've got to get yourself. If you use the word want and need, you've got to see yourself expecting to have it. And if you feel yourself doubting it, then you mustn't use the word want and need. Yeah, because they're dangerous words. Because if you're doubting it, then you're just going to be given more of wanting it. Whereas I intend to have it. Yeah, so I can say, oh, I want this person, or I want this, or I want that, but I intend to have it. If I doubt it, then it won't happen. So that's how I came up with the bug-free process.
So she's your inspiration for
Yeah, of course she's my inspiration.
the whole of the bug-free mind empire. Right. Leading on from that, I think it's important that we talk about how important it is to know what you want. Because with the investing, I always tell people, identify, even when I'm on stage, identify what you want. Because if you don't identify what you want, how do you know that I'm the guy that's going to help you?
All right, okay. Let me backtrack for a second and I'll cover this. Can I ask a question? How many people suffer with procrastination? Yeah, they really struggle with getting started and procrastination. Can we see a show of hands? Is it or does it
just
work?
type in yes, I do,
Yeah.
into the social stream or the chat function, and we'll be able to see it.
Yeah. Just so I can gauge it. Nobody?
No one yet.
No one
Might
yet.
take a second to come through.
Oh right. Well, anyway, I'll start talking. The
Just assume as if they do
right?
have the problem of procrastination, and that way you can fix it, even if
Indeed,
they don't have it.
indeed. Procrastination is there's good and bad procrastination, right? First off, I'm going to deal with the fun procrastination. This is the good stuff.
That's like a pharmaceutical company. Just assume they have the problem,
and then
build a pill for it.
Yeah.
For it.
Good procrastination is when you right. No, I've got to cover the bad procrastination.
Someone said,
first.
"Oh my God, yes."
Yeah, right. That's
So,
it.
yes.
The when you have thank you, right? That's great. Now
Someone said yes.
one person said yes. Right,
So
I'm
you're going to
speaking
help
you
someone.
now. The procrastination, right? Do you procrastinate? Do you procrastinate when you're going to go to the cinema? Do you procrastinate when you go to the restaurant? Do you procrastinate when you go to the shops? Do you procrastinate when you do anything you like? No, because you know what you want. Procrastination, bad procrastination, is a direct cause of not knowing what you want. Yeah, not knowing what you desire. I don't have bad procrastination because I know exactly, and I mean exactly, what I want. I can name it in a sentence of just a few words, exactly what my whole life's focus is on. Right? And because I know what I want, it's a case of I just continually take steps in the direction to get there. There is, to me it's a case of what happens, it's like there's where I'm going. Right, okay, there's a channel to get to it. Right, what happens outside of that channel is irrelevant. So those things that, possibilities, I'm not interested in. They're of no use to me. So now, because I know that that's where I'm going, that's where I'm going to end up, then it's just a case of conceiving the steps to get there, and I just continually take one step in there. I saw something recently. So Ranulph Fiennes, I can't remember what happened to him, but he had something happen bad. He had some health issue or something, and then after the health issue, he went and climbed Mount Everest. He did 5 marathons. He walked to the North Pole and then
Did
to
everything
the South Pole.
that other people said he couldn't.
Said he couldn't after this health thing, and they said, "Well, how did you do it? How did you do it?" He said, "Well, I put one step in front of the other, one foot in front of the other. That's it." It's a case of with procrastination. If you suffer from procrastination, it is purely because you don't know what you want. Now, if you take the 1%, the people, the successes, right? They don't suffer from procrastination because they know what they want. That's it. That's all it is. So when you know what you want, and this is why I cannot stress enough that this is the key to everything. Because when you've figured that out, when you've gone, I want to, I figured. What?
Someone just said,
What?
"Sorry, I'm procrastinating and telling you that I procrastinate."
Very good, very good, very good. The but it's yeah,
Someone we should have like a
funniest comment
award. I think that's winning it so
winning,
far.
Yeah, who can make us laugh the most?
Yeah, that's true.
That's the thing, right?
Who can make Andy and Minesh laugh the most?
It's like you usually make me laugh because you usually say something dumb, but you haven't actually said anything dumb yet. So it's a bit,
Am I surprising you? Am I?
Not really, but it's it's really a case of I'm sort of like waiting in anticipation.
Because
I'm expecting a row of dumbness.
We're only on the first glass yet.
Fair enough.
You know, it's just can't. Just you'll get the dumbness.
That's right. Then.
Just relax.
Okay.
Just know it. You're doubting it. That's what's going on right now.
So
you're hoping for it.
Yeah.
You don't know it.
Yeah, I suppose I am a little bit. So with the procrastination, it's a case of you've got to figure out what you want. So you have to break it apart, and you have to get in touch with yourself. You've got to know you've got to find out what you love in life, and it is all about what you love in life. And all you've got to do is forget money, right? Let's leave money over there, right? And figure out what you love, right? It's like if whatever you do that you love, there's a way of monetizing it. Yeah. So that's the next stage. Yeah. So first off, you figure out what the hell you want to do with your life, what you want to do, and how you get your most pleasure, the moments of pure joy, and you want more of in your life. And when you figure out what it is you want to do, and it'll be something you've done, it'll be something you're already doing, or something like that, or close to, or something you did once for a few days or something like that, and you loved it. It'll be something like that. And when you've figured out what it is you love, then it's just a case of finding a way to monetize it. And I can help you with that, because we're going to be here every month. And if you tell me this is what I want to do, I've figured out this is what I love, how can I monetize it, then we will mastermind it for you right here and show you how to monetize it, right? Because it's a case of if you create value for enough other people, you will get rewarded. All you've got to do is set up the system so that it happens. Does that sound good? Yeah. So your bit is figuring out what you love. So as I write in my second book, Using Above Free Mind, that really is a case of, well, you've got to figure out what you love. And when you've figured out what you love, it's a case of, I'll help you monetize it. That's easy. To us, we love business. Yeah. We love setting up businesses, making businesses I love getting business off the ground. My business mentor used to say to me, I've never known anyone. This guy, he retired a multi-millionaire, but he'd been a millionaire when he was 21, lost it, made it again, lost it, made it again. It was 7 or 8 times he did this. And it's a case of, he said, in all my years in business, I've never seen anyone who's as good at getting a business off the ground as you are. Because, one of my favourite compliments I've ever been paid, sort of thing. Because it's a case of that's what we love doing. We find ways of monetizing it. So you figure out what you love, and then you come on here and you ask us questions, and we'll show you how to monetize it. So there you go. You've got something to do for the next 4 weeks. It's basically figure that out. Now, if you figure that bit out,
everything else is easy.
Everything else is easy, because all of a sudden you've now got your reason why. So all I've got to do is show you the steps for how to get there. Yeah. So it's right, okay, and you ask us questions, and we'll give you the answers. Yeah. So you've got another situation where there's good procrastination. Right? This is the best bit of the lot, right? I love good procrastination.
Yep.
Right? I use good procrastination
all the time.
I use it structurally 3 or 4 times a week when it's, but then I probably use it 100 times a day in very small doses. But how I do it is like, if you don't know what to do nothing. Yeah. That's what you should do. If you know where you want to go, if you figured out your reason why, that's where you want to go. You figured that out, and it's a case of you're on that journey, and then you're stuck and you don't know what to do. It's a case of that's when you're supposed to stop, and that's good procrastination, because now it's a case of, right, okay, well, what are my options? And you look at all your options, and then you just stop. Go and do something. Go and have a glass of sparkling wine. You allow your mind to sit and think. Yeah, your subconscious mind's churning away in the background, and all of a sudden, it'll just you'll feel like you've got a rope attached to your rib cage, and it'll be like, oh, that's it, and it'll pull you forward because you'll want to go and do it, and then all of a sudden you'll be off. And it's a case of that's good procrastination, because you've waited for inspiration, and you've waited to know which of those options that you could take, you should take, and the rest of them it'll be like, I don't know what to do. I've got 7 options. I don't know which one to take. perfect. Go and sit down and think about it then. Because as you go down and sit down and think about it, your subconscious mind is working away on this data, and it's looking at all of the different options, and it's trying to find you the best way through. And then when you get the tug, that's telling you, that's it, it's told you, yep, you've got to go this way. And then those other options, you'll look at them and you'll think, what did I even consider them? They were ridiculous. This is so clearly the way through. And that's good procrastination. Okay?
Yeah, that sums it up. Dr. Ann Curtis said, okay. I think that means it's like a
challenge.
Okay then, right? I love living in southwest France and taking photos of the surf and of people. How do I make millions?
How do you make millions? Okay, well, how are you going to give value for that?
Yeah, I mean, you can only make money. This is what I don't like about when people want to make loads of money at seminars and loads of different things, right? You go to seminar after seminar after seminar after seminar. I want to make loads of money. I want to make loads of money. What are you going to do for other people?
Yeah, it's got to be
nothing.
About what you're going to do.
Well, then you're not going to make millions.
Yeah. Okay.
You know?
If you right, well, first off, there are countless ways of monetizing that particular industry. I've got a friend who owns betterphoto.com, and he's turned his website. He's a photographer, and he's basically become an online marketer. He runs photographic courses and that sort of thing. He offers retreats where people go out there and basically they go and take photographs. And there are, there's ways of increasing the value of the photos by basically getting people to list them in their galleries around the world and that sort of thing. And it's really a case of, if you're giving enough value, then you can increase it. But whether you'll make millions out of it, well, you've got to find a way of giving value. How are you going to give the value from them? Value will, the millions will follow the value you give. However, you can easily make a great income and a great life out of it. Now, there's a real thing about, in the personal development world, about people who say, in the spiritual side of things, they say, give up money. It doesn't matter if you have a great life and all this sort of thing. This is all.
Oh man, I love this.
It's all painful junk. You don't need to think about it. It's a case of, I look at value. So it's a case of, I always go to give extreme value for every pound I take, and that's it's compensation for the value I'm delivering. So if you're going to do this, it's a case of, there would be a number of different options for how you could use the photographs, how you could display the photographs. You could offer different choices for people with their special photographs. I don't know, there's got to be ways of monetizing.
Well, one of my friends, Maz, she teaches photographers how to market online.
Yeah, there's also, but you could do the membership sites and that sort of thing.
Oh yeah, membership sites,
education courses on how to take the photographs. You've got to be good at it. You can't do it. Well, I suppose you can do it. There's plenty of people who do things like that aren't that good at it. But all you got to do is create value. One of the best ways is writing a book on it, how to do it, how to become that.
Go write 100 different ways. People ask the wrong question. It's like, even though she asked how do I make millions, the question is the question is coming from a doubtful place, right? Would you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what you got to do is turn around the question and erase that doubt. So just go and write down a list think and refocus your mind to find the list of 100 ways that you can monetize the idea, and just sit in front of a piece of paper until you get 100 ways.
There's probably assets that you've got of personal experience in your life that could actually help with that would bring value. I can't say without knowing the full detail, but there will be things that you've done in your life that are unique experiences. Virtually everybody has got something that they've got that they can give, that they can find ways of monetizing it. Will you make millions out of it? Well, I don't know, maybe. There's a chance of it, but it's a case of, if you're not going to give extreme value, then the chance is low. If you find a way of giving great value, then there's a much higher chance. Give us a bit more data on it. Why would people want your photos? Why would people, what are you going to give? What are you prepared to give to make the millions? Are you prepared to...
Nothing. Most people are not prepared to give.
Well, yeah, but we don't know that, do we?
No, but I'm not saying specifically regarding Anne. I'm saying most people. They're not prepared to give.
You have to look at. I mean, when I look at a business that, right, well, a business has to wash its face. A business has to make a profit. Otherwise, you can't do the business, because a business has to make a profit. But when I look at things we do, this is an example. I don't look at it from, oh, what can I get, and that sort of thing. I just sort of like take a few steps in the direction and let's see what happens. Yeah, it's the Vegas thing. It's taking a few steps in the direction and see what happens. One of my clients on, one of my personal clients I work with, he came up with he told me his issues, and I basically showed him a way of monetizing everything he had. But it's a case of, he had something of extreme value that he was sitting on that he didn't even know he had. He could sort of like see it a little bit, but he couldn't break through and see it. It's leveraging what you have to do it. Now, what you could find is that you love doing the photography, but there's something else you can give that could work alongside it in France, so that you could do both, and maybe that's it. Maybe there's something else you've got that could actually add extra value.
The important thing is ask the question.
Yeah, yeah. Go on then.
How? The thing is, in asking that question, which was, okay, I love living in the southwest. Okay, I love living in southwest France and taking photos of surf and of people. How do I make millions? It's coming from a point of, I can't do it. Teach me. Does that make sense? It's coming from a point of, I can't do it. Whereas if you change your own internal question to how first, before asking us, the answer will be much more simpler.
When I conceived,
I don't think I'm being clear there, am I?
No, you're not being clear at all. But you're giving it a go. Right?
It's a good try, man. You know what? In this world, people get commended for trying. You know, I get stars. If I was in school, I would have two gold stars for trying.
You'd have got an award for showing up.
That means a lot.
When I conceived doing A Bug-Free Mind, I sat back and I was like, right, what do I want to do with my life? Yeah, and I looked at everything I love doing, and I thought, I love breaking apart mindset. I love, showing people how they can have a much happier life, much more enjoyable, and that sort of thing. Getting rid of stress and all that sort of thing. I enjoyed curing people of those sort of ailments. It was good fun to me. I got a buzz out of it because it's easy. I go on a cruise every year, a marketers cruise for people who do my sort of business, and go on the cruise. And my friend was on there. First day, you share a cabin, and he was there, and he went, oh, the boat's rocking, I don't like it. I said, I can cure your seasickness if you want. He said, what do you mean? I said, I'll cure it if you want. I said, you want it? He went, yeah. And basically it's something you say. I won't say it because it shouldn't be said, because now it would just be words, but if you were on a boat and I said it, it would mean something. So I said it to him. About 4 days later, I said to him, how's the seasickness? He says, you just cured it. It was gone. And another friend had said to me, I've got it as well, and I told him it, and it cured it for him. And I love that sort of stuff. To me, that's fun. That's enjoyable. So the mindset, when I was thinking about Bug-Free Mind, it was getting into the mindset of really, well, do I like doing this enough? Is this enough for me in my life? Okay, right, well, okay, yes it is. Well, now, is there a place in the market for me? Because if I want to make money out of this, because one of the qualifications I wanted from my life was, it's like, it would be wrong of me to not make tens of millions. Just with my mind, it would be wrong of me not to do it. It'd be ridiculous, right? And I have fun at this. This is what I do for fun. I get to play Monopoly for real, right? So it's a case of that's part of what I want to do. But I love speaking about mindset and that sort of thing. So okay, well, is there space in the market for me? And I looked at that, and it was like, yes, there's space in the market for me. I saw an angle that everybody else had seemed to have missed, and that I could go and add value. So okay, right. Well, is there enough people willing to pay me money that it would achieve my financial goals? So, taking the photography as an example, is there enough people going to pay you to achieve your financial goals. Now, with a bug-free mind, I looked at it and went, right, okay, well, what's the problem? Well, basically, 99.999% of people aren't going to make it. Aren't going to get anywhere in life. They're basically going to go around in circles and end up giving up at some point, and then won't get what they want from life. So there's definitely a lot of market. Will I be able to get my message through, considering it's slightly different message to everybody else out there? Yes, but that's going to take time, because effectively, when you've got something new and different, you're a pioneer, and the definition of a pioneer is facing the dirt with an arrow in its back. So it's a case of you've got to be very careful about that side of things. It's a case of you could easily fail completely. Okay, so that's that. But there is the potential of high rewards, and there is a potential for so I can get what I want, because if I'm going to do this a bug-free mind thing, I've got to get what I want out of it. I'm not going to I'm not altruistic. I'm not in this for any other reason than I get to help my grandchildren by changing the world. I get to help my great-great-grandchildren that I will never see, by making sure that the world's a better place when they get there, right? And that's what I get out of it. So it's like, yeah, this is a pretty worthy goal of my life to do this. So now it's a case of I've got a great worthy goal. It's something I love doing, something that I'll still be doing in 60 years' time, because I love it. You know, so I've got my passion there, and I've got a way of monetising it. It's giving something of great value to everybody else. Yeah, sure, that'll tick all the boxes in my life. Now, when it's a case of going back to taking photographs in the south of France, so let's look at it from a point of view. Will that give you what you want from life? Because if it will, then what do you need from life? Because this is another one of the... If I'm talking too much, you just stop me, all right? Yeah. This is another...
Stop. Stop kidding.
Right? This is another problem. I want millions, that sort of thing. You know, people don't know how little money they need to actually live a fantastic life. You know, this always... you know, whenever I go to a seminar, people say, "Well," I say, "What do you want?" "Oh, I want 100 grand a year." Right? "I want $1 million a year." Right? "I want $5 million a year." Well, you've got no chance of getting it. Right? It's a case of I know to the penny what I want. Yeah, and I expect to get as a minimum. Yeah, I've got 3 minimums. I've got an absolute bottom line. I've got a middle road, and I've got a top end that basically gives me a lifestyle I'm looking for. Right? Everything over that is pure bonus. Pure bonus. Yeah? So I know where, and it's a case of all I have to do is create value to give that, and it just grows from there. So when you're looking at the south of France and the photographs, it's a case of, well, can you achieve a lifestyle you're looking for? Do you need to make millions? Right? That's one of the questions.
But yeah, because most of the time millions is sort of an assumed thing by other people that you need to make.
Yeah, it's what you need is... I would be amazed if you needed more than $250,000 a year. So what you need to have is you need to design what you're doing so that you can do it. You know, for example, let's say you needed to make $250,000 a year. Well, there's so many things you can do to monetize what we just said with the photography, education, selling the photographs, training people, having people come and you educate them in how to do it, how to actually take the photographs and that sort of thing. Selling the photographs from your site, writing a book on it. This is just off the top of my head. Giving a training course where an online training course, a step-by-step guides and things like this. There's 8 or 9 off the top of my head that are ways of producing money. Now that goes a long way to making enough income, right? But then it's a case of you just got to invest, and that's where this guy comes in. It's a case of because Manesh basically, stop me at any point here. Manesh invests in what he does so that he doesn't have to work for money.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's doing exactly what he does his goal for life because he doesn't have to work for money. I don't need to make money because my wife's property portfolio, because we built a massive property portfolio, produces money, so I don't need money, sort of thing. So we do investments so that we don't need, to provide basic levels of income and more.
Let me just stop you. This is the part that people don't understand. There's 2 formulas. There's not one formula for creating money and building wealth. There's two. Number one is wealth creation, right? There's a formula for wealth creation. And then there's a formula for wealth building. A lot of people get mixed up the two and try and put them together and all this other stuff. The 1% know. Like Warren Buffett knows, I'm going to buy all these businesses. They're going to generate cash.
Yep.
I'm going to take that cash and then reinvest it, right? There's two steps to it. Number one is creating the wealth and creating the money. Number two is using whatever system that you've got. For me, it's Gold for Life. For my students, it's Gold for Life. To take that money that you've created and have it work for you instead of blowing it on a Ferrari or whatever, right? And by doing that, what you do is you set into motion a wealth cycle that continues working, because you now no longer slack on the first part. You have to keep going on the first part and creating wealth. And this is a question that just came through from Chris. Said, how do you give value when trading or investing? Well, you got to look at it from this perspective. By being a good investor, I can help other people learn about investing and creating financial freedom. Number two, I can, but even if I shut off the wealth creation side of it with the investment side of it, what I could do and what I can do is provide the lifestyle that my family wants, provide the lifestyle that my friends want, provide the lifestyle that I want. Do not underestimate, when we say give value, we don't mean go and give value to the whole world. If
you're in business.
If you're in business, that's different, right? But if you want to create value for yourself, investing allows you to create value for the family around you.
Absolutely.
Right? And that's the value that you're creating. So there's two parts to it. There's wealth creation, and then there's wealth building. And people always get those mixed up.
Yeah, I've got friends that don't want to do business, that basically just want to do investment, and they just want to do 15 minutes on this investment strategy, 15 minutes on this investment strategy, 15 minutes on this investment strategy, is off to the beach. That's it. That's all they do. Yeah. So it's
There's nothing wrong with that. That's a choice.
No, not at all. So when you going back to photography, it's a case of, right, well, hang on a second. So you were looking at the photography as being the only route to do it. No, there's ways of, if you're going to give value to people. I mean, my wife loves to take photographs. She keeps meaning to go on a photography course to learn how to take photographs. It's a case of, if you help people, you give them what you want, you create value for people, they'll pay you for it and they'll reward you for it. So you then get to do what you love doing, right? But it's a case of exactly what Manesh has just said. It's a case of, for example, my business, A Bug-Free Mind, it's just really, I've just got the optimization. I mean, you guys that know me on here, you're really early adopters of my system. It's really something that's quite fresh, and what I've done is I've released it, I've tweaked and tuned it, and obviously next week I'm releasing the new book sort of thing. But it's a case of, it's all a process of optimization. So what I've done is I've worked on it and got it to a point where that's all I do. It's just getting, sorry, I've lost my train of thought completely here. Where were we on this?
Talking about the two formulas. I know you're talking about business, your optimization.
Yeah, okay. So what it is I've just started to it's just started to produce a nice profit.
It's an old age thing.
Yeah, it's an old age thing.
Don't
Sorry
worry.
about that. Yeah. Thank you.
I'll take care of you.
You must have distracted me somehow.
Yeah, it was my fault.
Obviously. So what it is a case of, it's made a profit. Or it's making a profit. So what do I do with that profit? What do I need? Oh, I need another Ferrari. No. What you do with that profit is you reinvest it back into to make more money. So it'll grow the business and grow the business, so it's continuous reinvestment. If you look at a business, right? Sorry.
Chris said, thanks for the great explanation. I thought you were just there to drink the wine. So I think that what they're saying is you're talking too much.
Fair enough. I'll shut up.
Well, finish explaining. Otherwise they're going to get annoyed now.
All right, okay.
So they're already annoyed that they're not hearing enough from me. Right? And then they're going to get even more annoyed because you don't finish your points.
Right.
Oh man,
we
need a producer. We need a director.
We do need a director. But that's where we need Pete.
We need Pete. Somebody to just throw stuff at us.
Not move. No, you morons.
No, you morons. Yeah, exactly. Anyway, someone in the same time zone as us might get offended.
Let's look at the investment Manesh does. Yeah, produces 30% plus a year, sort of thing. Right? Okay, it's a great investment. Yeah. If you buy a pen for £1, I saw this from a guy this week, last week, and it's very, very clever, very simple analogy. If you buy a pen for £1 and you sell it for £1.50, what percentage profit have you made? You've made 50%. Well, if you do that every day of the year, then I think it comes out something like 18,000% or something like that. Right? Okay, so you started with £1 and you've made 18,000% profit. Like, there is nothing on earth that is more profitable than business if you get it right. Yeah? But it is a secret. Now, if you took the 50p and you went and took the 50p you've just made and you bought something else with it, right, like a bag of sweets or something, you're going to eat the profits. But if you reinvest it and you buy more pens, it's a case of the business grows more rapidly.
Yeah, or you just put it into another investment plan.
Yeah,
which is what a lot of
that's the wealth side of things.
You know, it's just two parts of it. The business. There is no faster way to grow wealth, i.e., create wealth, than a business. Then after that, you've got to look at, once I've created the wealth, what do I do with the money? And that's when the wealth building side of it comes into it. Now there was another question which is pretty important, but we've got to. I want to get to. Sorry.
Sorry, I was just saying hello to somebody.
All right. Somebody, Kathy said, I have and here that how stops you.
Oh yeah.
And I think the stupidity of that argument is you got to be open to the universe. You got to be
all right.
Right. But what when we say how, what we're doing is we're refocusing the mind to search for an answer. That's all we're doing. We're not needing any of the hows to work. When you say, I want to make millions and it has to be through this way, then you're restricting yourself. When we say, I want to make millions and I want a lifestyle like this, we're opening it up for any way to come, anyhow, to come into manifestation.
Yeah, exactly. The problem is that if you're working on the how, you're not allowing it to happen. Yeah. You've got to give up thinking about how it's going to happen. You just got to know where you're going to go, and you're going to give yourself options. The options don't have to be the way you go. So you can have you want to go there, and you're here. Okay, well, let's provide loads of options for each of the steps along the way. And all you're going to do is you don't give up how you're going to do it. I don't think about this event in Vegas that we're looking. I look at it and I think, if I allowed myself to start thinking how, it would overwhelm me straight away and I wouldn't do anything. I'd be stuck procrastinating because I wouldn't know what to do. So what I do is I do a little bit and I push it in the right direction. Right? I back off and let somebody else push it as well, because this is the advantage of a team around you. But if you're doing this on your own, you do it on your own as well. And it's a case of, and then I see what happens. I step forward. Oh no, that way didn't work, you know. To coin the term in marketing, it's a case of, oh right, we'll try a bit of Facebook advertising. No, that didn't quite work. All right, try it on Google AdWords. No, that didn't quite work. And you try different things. You keep going until, we've got a little bit of purchase here. This is starting to work, and you just move forward on it. You know, give up hanging on to the how.
Yep. Melly215 said, I encourage you to keep this conversational style. You're demonstrating how we should talk to ourselves and others. So that's cool.
Cool.
Right, so we need to talk about, thank you, we need to talk about a couple things. So let's talk about those. And then we want to get to talking about people, because that's what small-minded people do, right? We talk about people. So just the look on your face. What's that quote? Small-minded people talk about, no, poor people talk about people. What's that quote? What? You were the one who told me the quote.
Did I?
Yeah. Rich people talk about ideas, right? Is that the quote? What's the quote? You have no idea.
You've dug yourself this hole, you know.
There's a quote somewhere out there which says, it does now anyway, that poor people talk about people and rich people talk about ideas. I think that's right.
It's not far off of it.
Yeah, so that means you don't know it, do you? That's what it is. That's what's going on here. You don't know it.
Of course I don't know it, otherwise I'd have helped you out, wouldn't I?
Okay.
I wouldn't leave you hanging, would I?
Right. So let's get on with a couple of these, and we want to talk about a couple of ideas and concepts from the people around us that we've experienced over the last month or so.
Yeah, that's good.
The next thing was how Minesh begun to gravitate towards wealthy minds at such a young age. What did you want to ask me about that? You wrote the description. So,
Did I?
yeah.
No, I didn't. You wrote that.
You wrote the description.
Don't you dare. You've forgotten what you wrote, and now you're trying to blame it on me.
Okay. I'll carry the ball.
That's because it's your ball. It was your ball.
Because you dropped it, I will carry the ball.
Oh, right. Okay,
right.
I get you. Okay.
I think what we're talking about is when we first met. We were talking about when we first met. And at a young age, instead of being around the people that I was supposed to be around at a young age, I was naturally drawn to the right... Well, looking at you, I don't know whether it's the right people, but look, I was drawn to the right people for creating success, and I really don't know what. There was a really good point on this.
You wanted to tell people about how you first met me, right? And
how you were a total muppet to me.
No, we don't need to go over that again. You know, it wasn't my finest hour, and it wasn't even. It was still unconscious.
By the way, guys, are you guys enjoying this? Let us know if you're enjoying it, firstly, and then we can continue. Alright, so no one. Oh, that's good. Right. Let me refresh the comments. Here we go. Someone at Melly helped, right? Small minds talk about people, average minds talk about events, and large minds talk about ideas. There you go. See, I knew there was a quote.
We met somebody a little earlier today.
Hold on, let's talk about this one idea first before our ADD takes over.
Okay.
Right? So what I wanted to talk about was how when you're open to the idea of success, when you start on a pathway of success, what happens is you naturally start attracting the people around you that are going to help you to get to that level. And the only way I could do that is at a young age, when my dad was helping me and you know, different books I was reading and all this other stuff, and I had an idea of what I wanted. It wasn't as clear as what you teach me and have taught me, but when I had a brief idea of what I wanted, suddenly the people just started coming towards me. I mean, Andy I met at the Property Investor Show. At this point I was negotiating property deals at 16, and I had a favorite car, and it was a if anyone knows about cars, Koenigsegg, and I really wanted one. And so my dad took me to the Property Investors Show at London Excel. He said, let's go and have a look. You know, this is what the property world is about. And I still didn't know whether I wanted to do it or not at that point. Didn't know whether I was interested in it. And then I you know, there's a crowd around the stand. What the hell's going on here, right? And then I was far away, and suddenly I saw a smug...
It wasn't that. You didn't see that first.
Bleep. Right? And then, no, what happened was I saw a blue car. And I didn't make it out because it was far away. And then I got closer and I was like, damn, that's a Koenigsegg. Inside the Excel Center on a stand. And then I was thinking, which muppet has brought in a Koenigsegg? And then I see Andy, who's got the car that I really wanted at that point. It's my favorite car at that point. And at that point I decided, yeah, I can do this. I was like, I can do this. That's a total money.
Yeah, that's actually quite a good point. It's a case of... Now, what a lot of people would have seen was it's a case of, oh, I can never have that. You know, I was speaking to I was being interviewed by my friend Ben Hilm the other day, and he said he was at a car day where this Lamborghini Aventador went past, and this guy went, oh, I'll never be able to afford one of them. And of course, he's right. He never will, because it's a case of most people would think, oh no, that's beyond me. I can't do that, and that sort of thing. Whereas Minesh looked at it and went, no, I want that. Right, okay, what do I need to do? I'm going to gravitate towards that sort of person. I don't necessarily want to meet that sort of guy because he's obviously a bit of an obnoxious person. But
obnoxious
doesn't really cover it, does it? The
obnoxious believe it needs two words. Just can't find the second word.
But smug, yeah, smug. But the point is, he gravitated towards people who could help him, and that's what I was taught to do. At the age of 13, my great uncle Dave said to me, you know, you've got nearly all the characteristics you need to make every business work. He said, but you're missing a few. He said, and they're going to be in the people that are going to be around you. He says, all you got to do is ask for them, and they'll be shown to you. He says they'll have a sign on their heads. He said just go and find them. So I've always been able to find people, and whenever I've needed a solution or something like that, I've been able to get it instantly. You know, we had one this week, and it was a case of, right, we needed to understand. We had a pathway tracking issue with Google Analytics, and it was a case of, you know, I was on the Skype to him. I said, "You got anybody on Google Analytics?" He went, "Hang on a minute." Yeah, and we found somebody. Somebody who works within India, who knew somebody from Odesk, Singapore, who knew somebody from Odesk, who was an expert on Google Analytics. We wrote down the problem, sent it to him. He said, "Yep, that's no problem to solve. I can fix it." Right? That, you know, we could have been.
I remember the point that I wanted to make with this. Right? Thanks for filling the gap. Right? What happened
no,
was
that was me. I was gap filling.
Yeah. Well, it was just allowing my subconscious to come up with the ideas. You know. Yeah. Point I was making was there was a lot of people at that point. I knew what I wanted. I wanted to build a business. I wanted to build wealth. I didn't want to build myself a job, a glorified job, which is what most people have with a business. And there were a lot of people that around me that were running seminars, big seminars, and were running, were trading and investing and all this other stuff. And at that point, for some reason, I gravitated toward Andy more than I did the other guys that were making a lot of money too. And the key concept with that is because I knew what I wanted, the right people came around me. And I think that's one of the things that's very important. Absolutely. We met again at one of our mutual friends, Mark and Anastasi's JV dinner. And that was a fun experience. It was like I felt so smug. And then it was reduced to that much in about 5 seconds. And then I was like, I'm going to get him. That's what actually kept me going. I don't know whether I told you that or not. Because at that point I was like, do I want to go and become, because I was really interested in corporate law there at that point. And then when you did that, it really was crazy times, right? And when you did that, I was just like, bastard, I've got to get him now, right? So that's what kept me going. And then I realized, you know what
he's trying to say is he didn't tell you the point. He'd done a fantastic property deal when he was 17 or 18.
$1 million worth of property.
Yeah. And basically,
with no money down, I started £500, the whole deal, with the £68,000 cashback and £250,000 in equity.
When you're 17 years old,
and I'm 17, and then
he's feeling pretty chuffed with himself,
as you do.
And then unfortunately he bumped into me, and it was a case of obviously, I had a bit of an ego issue then. And
so I told him this, and he listened to me, right? So I was like, "Oh, he's really interested. This is cool."
No, I was genuinely interested.
Oh, right, okay, cool. Yeah. So he was interested, and then he.
Because I was interested. There was a 17-year-old who'd done this. I'm sitting there thinking to myself, "Wow, his mindset is excellent."
Yeah, and then as soon as I stopped talking, I tried to grab a breath. That's what it was. Rubbish! I tried to grab a breath, and so the first thing that comes out of his mouth, I just said, "I bought £1 million worth of property when I was 17." Taking a breath, and he goes, "Yeah, I did £12 million in my first year," and that was it. I was like, "Okay then, see you later." And that kept me going, though, I have to admit.
Obviously, time has wears away at a story, and it's not quite as bad as he's made it out there. But it wasn't my finest hour, I must admit.
No, but it kept me going at that point. So I have to say thank you for that. And again, we just continued bumping into each other, events and everything. And the reason for that, and this has happened with multiple people, like JT in America, loads of different people, Mark, loads of people around me that I've really needed the support of or the advice of, because I knew what I wanted. They just continuously gravitated towards me, and because I didn't have any preconditions nonsense in my head because I was young. There was no blockages to that. Yeah. They just everyone was there, and I think that's a key thing that people need to understand. You want to get rid of those blockages, because that will stop anything manifesting.
Yeah. So when you got to look at it and think, right, well, how am I going to get to gravitate towards the wealthy minds? That's all. You've just got to find somebody that's doing what you want to do, and basically look for ways to emulate them.
It's like with gold investing, right? There's loads of people out there talking about gold and silver.
Yeah.
The way I don't believe in buying any asset unless you can generate a cash flow from it. I mean, even if I was to buy a supercar, I would find a way to make it pay for itself, right? That's a cash flow element of it. Now, with the way we do gold and silver, we teach people how to generate a cash flow like the way the 1% do it while they're holding the gold. So it's like, do I want to learn gold and silver where I just have to buy the bricks and bars, or do I want to learn how to generate cash flow? Once you know that, you know who to talk to. Because even I ask people, do you want to generate a cash flow, or do you just want to hold on to the asset? If you want to hold on to the asset, you need to talk to this guy. You know, if you want to generate a cash flow, you need to talk to me.
Yep.
But only when you know what you want can you do that. Now, can I tell you something really funny?
If you can make it funny, yeah. You capable of that, man?
Well, Dr. Anne said, you two should drink more champagne. You've made more sense since you opened the bottle. Which is good. Which is good. And here's something funny. Melly, I don't know, Melly215, I don't know your name. It's just showing up as Melly. Said, look at this for a manifestation, right? She joined in late as well. Right. She said, would you guys be interested in coming back to Vegas to do a seminar on this topic?
Yes.
Yes.
Right.
We'll be there tomorrow. Right? Yeah, we would be interested. You can email us, Minesh at gold4. I'll put it in the chat. And you can email.
This is, people say to me, right, this is a brilliant example of a
but
really
how is that for a manifestation?
That's brilliant, yeah.
Right?
It really is. It's fantastic. Right, people say to me, you know, I'm scared to tell people my dreams. Now, that's because you're not confident yet. We can deal with the confidence issue, but I don't have any issue at all telling people what I intend to do. Because if you tell enough people, then someone will help you do it, right? If people aren't laughing at your dreams, you're not dreaming big enough, right? So it's a case of, you know, if you're going to go and do something, you know, as Donald Trump quite rightly says, dream big. Yeah, when I lost everything, after I lost, you know, tens of millions, you know, potentially hundreds of millions I lost, it was a case of, I sat back and sat down for 3 months, and I sat there and I thought, do you realise I'm just not thinking big enough? You know, up until that point in my life, I hadn't thought big enough. I was thinking about, you know, I was thinking about it in the wrong way. So, with your dreams, you know, you've got to just decide what you want, and then go and do it. And it's a case of, if people laugh at you, that's great. I mean, when we were in Dallas, I met this lovely lady called Alana, and Alana, sorry, and you know, people were, a friend of ours, Ty, said to me, he said, can you come and, she's mad, she's doing something wrong, you got to talk around.
She's making effortlessly loads of money.
Yeah,
in her career, and I mean, when I say career, I don't mean a job as in,
yeah,
it was a job.
Yeah, but she was a broker,
top of the top.
To give you an idea, they had a company bonus, basically split between the 80 odd brokers or whatever it is, and they paid 100% of it to her. Right, that's how good she was, right? And so she was effortlessly making this money, but she didn't love what she did, so she quit her job and she went off to do something else. And we were asked over to basically, I said, can you come and talk her out of it? You know, because you know I'm the mindset guy and that sort of thing. Can you come and talk her out of it? So I just sat there and listened, and I could see that she wanted this. She wanted to do this more than anything else. She'd found her passion, you know, and this person's going to take on the world, you know. But everyone around her's laughing at her dreams because, you know, it's a case of she could make money easily elsewhere. But no, that wasn't what was giving her what she wanted from life. You know, you've got to go with what you love, and you've got to think big. And she was thinking really big,
really huge, really big. Crescent_Silver said, if you worry about what people think, you are effed anyway, which is true.
You can't control what people think. Yeah, other people are entitled to whatever they want to think. Yeah, I can't control anybody on this who's watching this, what they think. It's your choice. Yeah, all I can do is control what's in here. Yeah, and I control what's in here. So you think you can control what's in there? No, you can't. You can't do it, and I'm not entitled to do it to you. Therefore, it's a case of I just do what I want to do. And so, of course, when I say, well, I'm going to go and do this, people look at it and go, that's not possible. Right? It's like, well,
really? Do you really think so?
It's a case of, well, I've proved the impossible again and again and again and again and again.
So what makes you think you're special?
Right?
That's how we think about it. That's how I think about it.
It's a case of if somebody says to me, "Oh, well, that can't be done." You know, here's an issue, right? A lot of people have real issues over their family. Yeah. So their family turns around to them and says, they go, right, I'm gonna do this, and the family then kicks in. Their mum, their dad, their brother, their sister, their friends. They kick in and they go. I mean, I'm sure you know where I'm going with this. They kick in and basically stick in the boot, and it's a case of, right, well, you know, I don't have any of that issue, because it's like people say, well, how do you cope with a wife who basically is negative towards what you're trying to do? Well, it's quite simple. Where are you going? Well, I'm going to set up this company. It's going to do this, 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 and this. Right? Okay. Your wife, right? Has she set up a company that's going to do this, 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 and this? No. Therefore, her opinion is not relevant. Not in a nasty way. There's nothing nasty about it at all. It's just a case of that is an opinion, and that can't help you do this, 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 and this. So it's a case of you listen to it, but it's an opinion. So therefore, it's nothing at all. It's like this, you know. It's like there's a little bit of noise. There's nothing. It's gone, right? So you don't listen to opinion. You listen to counsel. If Donald Trump goes, no, you can't do that because of this, 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 and this, then you're like, I'm all ears. Tell me more, right? Because that's counsel. You know? So, you know, spelt with an S-E-L apparently. So, what you
just gonna give you a pass on that one.
You're gonna let that one go ahead?
Yeah, yeah.
Right, okay. There we go.
It was that stupid. Anyway, now there's a couple different. There's two things we need to talk about left.
Okay.
And then what we can do is talk about some ideas and stuff, right?
Sure.
So we got that right. Now, why the 1% can easily see which investments to invest in this current climate. So that's right now the 1% are stockpiling up on gold, silver to protect themselves, right, from what's coming with the debasement in currency and everything like that. That's why people are very interested in gold and silver. That's why I'm speaking in all these places, right? But there's something that I can't understand. How can, right? Well, basically what happened was I read a study the other day, and I put it in the something I send out to my people. I said, there's a study that was put out which said this fund owns X amount of gold, right? A year ago when the gold price was its highest, right? Over the last 2 years.
This is going somewhere, yeah?
Yeah, don't worry, right? And the 1% own a lot of this fund. So they are clearly investing billions into gold and silver. This fund basically owns a certain amount of gold. So then
was that depth charge just got through, did it? Right? Okay.
Yeah. Right.
Come on.
I thought you just kicked me.
No, I didn't kick you. I didn't do anything.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm certain. That's my name, isn't it? Come on, finish your story.
Right.
You know, people need to get to an end of this story, right?
Right. So the thing is that a year later, when the gold price is $300 less, the fund owns the same amount of gold as it did when the gold price was the highest. So the retail market right now is running around saying gold's reached its peak, etc., etc., etc. But the 1% have clearly got the same holding. So they're holding on to it. They're not dumping it, even though the 99% are saying gold's reached its peak, it's not going to go up, etc., etc., etc.
Thinking, yeah.
Yeah. So how, for me, it's clear that the 1% are investing in gold.
Yeah.
Right. Why is it that the 1% can so clearly, easily see through all the crap in the marketplace? Now I have some opinions about this, but
yeah, well,
why?
That's not bad. Okay, your story had a point.
Of course it did. I thought you kicked me. I was like, what the hell is he trying to do?
Impressed. Your story's got a point. I thought he was just waffling and being boring.
No, that's your job because remember what they said?
Yeah, fair point. I concede that point.
That's the first time I've gone in to concede a point.
Right. Okay. The herd are scared and they are worried all the time. Yeah. And so it's a case of they are worried, and so it's a case of a news story comes up on the media and says, "Oh, gold price has spiked." Well, that's probably true, or it may be true, or something like that. A successful one of the 1% sits there, and it's a case of, Oh, right, okay. Well, that's not enough information. That's just noise. That's like static on a radio. It's a case of they're looking for indicators. They've already worked out their plan. They're looking at it from a long-term strategy. They're not looking at it from a they don't need to react all the time. And so the thing is, what's going on in their mind, a person's mind, is because they doubt that they're going to be successful at this investing, they're expecting it to fail. Right? Whereas the 1% don't doubt that it's going to succeed. It's a case of...
Yeah, because the 1% are operating from numbers. You know, the US debt is at the highest. The European debt is about to explode over the next 3 to 5 years. Okay.
Yeah, but it's a herd mentality. So it's a case of, I better follow the herd quick because I don't want to be left here. You know, they're worried. So they're not sure of their strategy, and they doubt themselves. And this is all mindset bugs. This is all stuff that's in the mind that's actually preventing success. So all you have to do is, I remember when I first got into property, I spent about 8 to 10 weeks crunching data from all sorts of places and that sort of things, and I was looking at it and going, and I knew every property in the area. I knew every property, and there was 1,200 properties for sale in my target market in the area, in the search area I was looking at. I knew every one of them. I knew every one of them, and I was seeing when properties were going up and properties were going down and that sort of thing. I really knew everything about the market. I had a feel for the market in that area, in that sub.
You had the data.
Yeah, I had the data, and so I knew when I was doing it that there was nobody else out there who'd done what I'd done. Nobody had sat there for 10 weeks, 18 hours a day, going through this stuff and crunching the data on it. And so I had a feeling for the market. I felt where it was going to go, and it was a case of then when I announced to the people at my boardroom meeting at our company annual returns information, where we figured out what the accounts were going to be when we put them in and that sort of thing, I said, look, the property market's drastically undervalued, and it's going to take a big lift in the Worthing area this year. It's going to go up by 30% either this year or early part of next year. I think we should buy as much property as possible because it's drastically undervalued. And everyone laughed at me. Right? Was group accountant, the 2 bookkeepers, the external auditors, my business mentor, my business partner, and a couple of other heads of managers and that sort of thing, basically all laughed at me. They didn't laugh, they just poo-pooed the idea. And it's a case of, so none of these people had got the research or understood what I'd done. None of them. So fortunately I began to question whether I was right or not, but I went home and I spoke to my wife, and she'd seen me do all of this research. So she said to me, no, you're right, they're wrong, take everything we got and do it. And I went, okay, and just did it. And we made millions. We made millions in no time at all. And it was a case of, I didn't follow what the herd were thinking, or the herd had heard that it was on the news that the property market was actually overvalued when it was actually undervalued at the time. I didn't follow any of that. What I did was I looked at my data, and I'd gone and done my research, and I'd worked it out, and I'd spent the time looking at it, and I had a feel for the market. And sure enough, I felt the market and got it right, and Worthing took a 33% property market rise in the first 6 months. I timed it perfectly. It was perfect market timing. I don't advise market timing. I think that's a mad way of doing it. But I'd got it right because I'd gone so deep into the data.
Yeah.
Does that answer it?
Yeah, that answers it, because I think what a lot of people do is invest from other people's opinions rather than investing from their own knowledge bank. Invest from the bank of other people's opinions rather than investing from their own knowledge bank. And I think that is what screws people up. Next is why people, the 99%, are conditioned to think that they cannot be rich. Like Ben's friend who said, I'll never afford that.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is? I think we're taught to, right from the start, not to expect to receive what we really want. Right from our parents telling us, "Oh, be humble," and all this other stuff.
Yeah, it is. It's right from the start. It's a case of, when you're a little child learning to walk, it's a case of you just get on with it. But it's only this rubbish information that comes in, and the advantage. I always say that people who are younger have an advantage because they don't have as much junk in their minds as the older guys like myself and people even older than me, sort of thing. Which I know there's not many, but that's it.
You're not that old, Uncle Andy.
Indeed, thank you. But Manish said something to me the other day, and it was very, very true. And he's just come off of Facebook, and he said, I've made a point that the older you get, the less chance you have of success, unless you clear your mind of bugs.
You've statistically proven it.
I've statistically proven it, But what he said was, I think the rate of success is actually decreasing. Yeah, it's not static, it's decreasing, and it's decreasing because of the distractions that are available. In my time of life, when we used to get home. I was growing up as a kid in the 70s, and you'd get home and you'd watch a few TV programs, and you'd make sure you weren't going to miss the best show of the week and that sort of thing. But in between times, you did other things. You went outside and played, and you did whatever you're going to do. And then when you get a bit older, there was no VCR, there was no way to record TV. Online TV wasn't, didn't happen or anything like that. There was no real distraction, so life was slower. Now it's a case of somebody.
Facebook. All right. Now that you've butchered the point, what I was trying to, the point that I was trying to make was Generation X, which is prior to people born in 1986 to 1990, I would say. People born prior to that.
You would say. So this is not statistical research then?
The point that I'm going to make is statistical research, but the age gap is not. No.
Fine.
Right?
Okay.
So...
Is this an opinion, is it? Or is it?
No, this is counsel.
Oh, right.
Right? So...
Have a go at me, mate, and it comes right back at you.
It's all good, right? I'm just trying to make this good point.
Trying. Maybe you should stop trying to make the point.
Right. So what happened was, people born prior to 1986 to 1990 had much less distractions. So what this meant was, you were distracted by the crap educational system, the industrial age educational system, but with that the distractions were limited because you'd go to school between 9 and 3, and then the first hour would be maths. Then just when your brain is getting, it takes about 45 minutes for your brain to get focused. I've heard, that's an opinion, right? I've heard, I need to do that research, yeah? Just when your mind is finally focused, you got to go and do another subject. And then just when your mind is focused on that, you got to go and do another subject. But at least you're getting an hour of practicing focus, right? But what happened post 1989, I would say, or 1986, 1989, is what I call the Facebook era. What that means is the social media online era, which is where people in my generation, what we're brought up with is Facebook, MySpace, and our lives are taught to us to be online, which means my representation of myself was actually what people think of me on Facebook, if that makes sense, right? And that is very bad, because now suddenly what I've got is, I'm not looking at Facebook as a tool of what people of your generation would be looking at it as a master connection tool. I'm looking at it as if it's life. I need to impress people on Facebook. I need to talk to people constantly on Facebook, keep up to date constantly on people's lives, constantly update people on my life. And instantly I've got now a stream of crap about other people's lives coming into my consciousness, which rather than allowing me to focus for an hour on something, it's not even allowing me to focus for 20 seconds.
Yeah.
And then you got YouTube and things like that, where you can sit on and click one video and watch somebody slap their cat around, go to another video and watch somebody talk about something.
Cat around. Right, yeah.
Right. To listen to somebody who talk about tech. Then you go to somebody who you watch a video about whatever, right? Punching the dog around.
Punching the dog, brilliant. Right, have another sip of wine, yeah. What he's trying to say, now that he's butchered that point,
right.
There's too many distractions.
There's too many distractions. What that means is, it doesn't allow my mind to focus on, forget the distractions. It A, distracts you, and B, it doesn't allow you to focus on what you truly want. It forces you to focus on what's going on in other people's lives. If you can never sit down for 15 seconds and think, what do I want, and have a clear picture of that, how do you expect to become successful? Facebook, I believe, is going to increased the rate. The educational system in the last 30, 40 years has made people consistently dumber, and the scientific studies to prove that. Facebook era, no, I don't just mean Facebook, I mean MySpace and all this other stuff, is going to do it 10 times faster.
I agree, yeah.
So in the next 3 years, we're going to have the level of dumbness that it took to take 30 years to do with the educational system is going to happen in 3. And that's how dangerous the Facebook era is.
It's a bad psychological trap that's happening. And, the addictiveness for a certain... I don't have any addictiveness to Facebook. To me, Facebook is a brilliant manifestation tool. As an example, I decided what I would do is the book's A Bug-Free Mind. It's designed to be the prequel to any personal development book. So what I designed it for is a case of which industries most absorb personal development material, and multi-level marketing companies like Amway, Herbalife, or whatever they're called, and a few of the others, they all absorb personal development material. So when I wrote my books, I had this in mind, and I knew that I would be able to give value to the people in those businesses with their own businesses. And so what I did was I designed it to do that. So today, I'm almost at the phase where I want to start what I call my downline tests. In other words, somebody who's got an MLM company or an MLM downline with a lot of subscribers that I can go on a teleseminar with, and I can talk to, and I can help them solve their problems with actually making their businesses work. And so I designed that into my whole model. Well, today, Facebook, I only said to Pete the other day, I said, we need to start considering about the downline tests, but the optimization is about right. We need to start considering it. I get a Facebook message this morning. I've been contacted by a friend I'm mentoring, and he's actually I'm in the multi-level marketing business. I don't know if he's allowed to even do this, but he's asked me if I'd be interested in promoting your book to my subscriber list, and basically I just thought I'd reach out to you and see if there's anything we can do together. And this particular guy has got a very large list, apparently, of subscribers. And that's what Facebook is to me. It's a manifesting tool. So last week I said, we need to start considering this. We're nearly ready for it. This week, somebody contacts me who is the perfect sort of person for me to do a teleseminar with. He is the right age group, so everything about it is right for him to work with me. Maybe it's a webinar, I don't know. But the point is that I use... Facebook is a wonderful manifestation tool, but it is a tool. I post pictures on Facebook of when I'm having a great time somewhere that I think, no, this might inspire people to think, well, maybe they could do it. I don't do it to go, oh, well, look at what I've got, or that sort of thing. I'm not, I just do it because it's also a very cool way to actually keep record of what the hell I was doing throughout the year, and that's why I use it. But it's a tool. That's all I use it for. Whereas Manesh, my friend here, was addicted to it, and it's a case
but
of
our generation is brought up with it.
Generation is, addicted to it, and the problem is, it's like any tool. You use it, and if you learn to use, if you're a master craftsman,
you get self-worth from it, which is I don't know if self-worth is the right word, but I'll go for it now because I haven't got anything better. If you're a business person, if you're a business person. Decided to model my life off of yours. Right? If you're a business person, what you want to do is you want to be putting out content and having a following of people that are actually interested in what you're talking about. Whereas what happens on Facebook is you get more interest and more self-worth out of people liking your status updates and whatever value you want to put out there. Value you want to put out there, rather than actually changing people's lives. And that's bad.
So you came off of Facebook and you got focused.
I came off of Facebook, and within a week I've systemized parts of my business that I was thinking about doing for 6 months. Suddenly the plan is much more clearer. Suddenly
because he's probably got 3 hours a day when he's not on Facebook now.
More than that.
Yeah.
You
just imagine, it's a case of, I use Facebook, and I probably 5 minutes a day, probably, right? But it's a case of, right, check in, have I got any messages? Have I been tagged in anything that I should go and see? Yes, no, right, okay, on to the next thing. That's it. It's like email. The problem is email was designed to be this most wonderful system that makes it easy for everybody to get everything, and everybody's overwhelmed with their emails and their inboxes are brimming. I don't have that issue, because what I do is I plan my emails. I don't sit there and wait for it to go ding, oh, there's an email in, best I stop what I'm doing and go and do that. My email is planned. Tim Ferriss nailed it in the 4-Hour Work Week. It's a case of, right, I do my emails twice a day. You know, email to me, I go to do email to relax, right? You know, it's a case of, because I'm working on a project and I'm not being disturbed, and it's like, right, okay, I go to my email to actively procrastinate, right? So it's a case of, right, okay, I've done enough work on the project, I've put enough energy in it, okay, I'll put that down, right, I'll go and do some emails. Yeah, and so to me, it's fun, you know, because I don't have any pain with my email, because I've learned to use the tool, and it is a tool. Because all of these things are a tool.
Yeah, and I think it's important to come off of those things that keep you really distracted. It's the key thing, because once your mind's got natural ability to focus on whatever you give it to focus on, right? Your brain is a tool, right? And if you give it a stream of things to focus on, it's going to focus on all of those things, because that's what's in front of it. As soon as I came off of Facebook, now a lot of people have been messaging saying, are you going to come back on Facebook? Yes, I'm going to come back on Facebook after I've come off, done a Facebook detox, and have removed any addiction to it. And then when I do come back, it's going to be a case of, I want to keep in touch with these 300 people, and I'm not going to be putting posts up there which mean nothing, right? I'm going to put my energy towards, it's like you said, it's going to be used for networking. That's it, right? And I think that's a very important thing. I was talking to a friend of mine today. Just going to bring the message up. You want to hear something funny, by the way?
Well, yeah, go on then.
You know, I was telling you I want to go to Hawaii. So then in Dallas, I got invited to talk at an event in Hawaii, right? And then as soon as she said that, I said, that seems a bit too far away, because it's next February and March. So suddenly I just get a tweet from Paul, who is in Hawaii organizing this event. He says, I've just penciled in the new dates for the event in Hawaii, October 26th to 28. Let me know if it works for you. That's just expected now, isn't it?
It's a nice time to go to Hawaii.
Nice time to go to Hawaii, because it'd be cold here. And then we've got to go to North Carolina, actually. Got to do the talk there. So that's going to be fun. Anyway, no, North Carolina is September 28th, 29th. Right? I don't know. We'll work it out. Now, what point was I going to make? I've done what you do now. I've forgotten.
Well, I'm relying on you to remember things. I mean, I've got a few things here that I put here for if I get stuck. You know, but,
we haven't used them yet.
We haven't used them yet, which is pretty cool.
Which is pretty good, considering we've forgotten a lot of what we're talking about.
Yeah. Where's the list? What we got still? Is there anything left on the list?
That's it. So we can talk about ideas. Right, that's it, my friend. So I was talking to her, and because my team manages my Facebook page now, so I don't log on to it or anything. Anytime I want to get a message to anyone who's following me on Facebook, I send it to my assistant, and she posts it for me. And so I decided to go on without logging in, because my page is public. I can just see what's going on there. And I decided to go to my friend's page, and all she's got is quote after quote after quote, people liking it. It's like none of these people are actually turning into clients. So none of these people are helping you achieve the lifestyle that you want, firstly. And none of these people are actually getting any real value besides the feel-good factor of what you're telling them. Now, tell me if I'm wrong. You can't make a business and a profit out of seminar junkies that are on Facebook. Right? If they're seminar junkies and they are, they need their next shot of a seminar hype, right? They need to go to a seminar to get that. But a lot of people are doing that on Facebook now by clicking on likes on everyone's personal development post. It's like, you can't do that. You know, you need to go out there and you need to provide value. So I said to her, you need to get off Facebook, because I actually care about her, right? I was like, you've got good value, just get off of Facebook. And I was like, you're falling into the trap. And she said, how come? Because obviously people can't see what trap they're falling into. And I said, you're getting turned on by people liking your comments instead of people buying your services and allowing you to help them change their life. And she said, I'm not selling anything though.
Exactly.
Yeah. Exactly. She didn't get that. So I told her to tune in today. So hopefully she is. What we mean by that is, exactly, you're not selling anything. In business, you sell things. We both sell things, right? To change somebody's life.
Absolutely.
selling is not bad. And Facebook removes it gives you that connection, it gives you the self-worth feeling, but you don't change anyone's life. And that's why I came off of Facebook. And my generation, if my generation want to be successful, we need to come off of Facebook, come off of the whole of the world, put the attention back onto ourselves, and then focus on what we're going to do.
We were discussing this. There was an article recently where it said that businesses were now designing their offices and their company and the jobs around gaming sort of things to keep their
fantastic
keep their employees interested in staying working.
If you want, the article said if you want to keep Gen Y employed, gamify your company.
Yeah, right. Okay. Well, this is like disaster written all over it, because it's what they're basically saying is, right, well, they'll be off. So whichever company comes up with the best game takes the employees. So you're talking about killing off of any loyalty to the business and that sort of thing, because you're going to be moving on whenever the next game comes out, which in a technology-driven age is going to be pretty damn quick. So there's the tangents and the spin-offs of disaster that this have got written all over it.
And the reason why people used to go for jobs, correct me if I'm wrong, right, is I want to go and provide my services to this company so that I can make a difference. Now, if people are just going to work just to entertain themselves, you're removing the whole idea of what do you want.
Do you know how much work it takes? Right now, work. There's the word work people associate with pain, right? Work to me is fun. Yeah, this is work to me.
This is work.
Right? This is work. This is fun, right? So, do you know how much work it takes to get a business to just be built, to make it happen? The level of concentration and the level of effort, if you like, it's all fun to me because I'm only doing what I love. So there's no pain here, but it's like it's a concentrated, large amount of effort. If you're being distracted 20 times a day, 50 times a day, 100 times a day,
constantly, because now you get push notifications to your phone.
It's a case of
boom.
Well, it's like, I don't have a phone because it's a case of otherwise people would call me, right? If people want me, they contact me via email, and then I answer my emails when I get round to them. There's no law that says you have to answer your emails. There's no police going to come to the door and go, actually, Mr. Shaw, you haven't finished answer your emails. I'm going to arrest you now. No, it's a case of email. I'll get back to when I get round to it. So I don't expect, when I send an email to somebody, I don't expect them to get back to me until they're ready to get back to me. Yeah. That's how I don't expect other people to do things that I'm not prepared to do. So but I won't have a phone because it's a case of I don't want to be contacted all the time. I don't want the distractions. I want my mind focused on whatever I'm doing at the time. And so when I'm at lunch and we're masterminding something, we'll brainstorm a presentation, or we'll brainstorm something or the other. And it's a case of I don't want any distractions. I'm not interested in any of that. I'm only interested in what I'm doing. Yeah. At that time, when I'm at home, when I'm with my family and that sort of thing, that's all that exists in the world, right? When I'm doing that presentation, we're at a mastermind meet or something like that, that's all I'm doing. Yeah. I don't have distractions. I'm not interested in that. The distraction to me is, would you like another drink? And the answer is yes, right?
Yeah, and I think I was going to make a really good point.
But you forgot.
Just left my just left
was
my
that because
mind.
I was so good?
Because you was just
on fire. Yeah.
I get shy when I'm around you.
Yeah,
what can I say? And I was talking to another one of my friends, right? And
that's two friends he's got there. Right?
Don't know whether I want
when
to
he adds up the
mum
and dad, it comes to a grand total of 4.
Don't know whether I want. Actually, I don't want to talk about this friend because this is a personal thing, so
okay.
We'll miss that. That's what. There's a comment here which is pretty good. Melly again said these two are awesome individually. The combination would be unbeatable.
Which two?
Me and you. Two.
Right.
These two. She's watching.
Thank you, Melly.
Thank you very much. Neil said, I agree on your Facebook point. I monitor what's coming through and unsubscribe and unfriend as necessary. That's important. Yeah. One of the things this is the point I was going to make. One of the things I recently did was I went through all my contacts. Now I had like 1,000-something contacts, and I deleted 700 of them. Literally, like if I didn't want to speak to person, or I hadn't spoken to the person in the last 3 months, delete the number. And that freed up so much brain space. I don't even know. I don't understand how it did that, but it just did.
It's decluttering.
Decluttering, whatever you want to call it. That was a really cool thing. Now, what I was going to say was, when you said you're going to focus your time, I think also that's why when you look at really wealthy people, really, really, like truly wealthy, and when I say truly wealthy, I don't mean just on a money perspective. I mean on a whole relationship.
I always consider wealth is a mindset anyway. You can't remove wealth.
Exactly.
It's only riches that can come and go.
Exactly, right? So when I'm talking about relationships, everything, right? Like you said, when I'm at home, I turn everything off. That's my time, right? And I noticed this when I was
It's not just when you're at home. You manage to turn a lot of things off when you're generally in public. You know?
Yeah, no. This was I don't know whether to say it or not. Right. Well, okay, right. I went to dinner with a young lady. Yeah, and
no, I won't say that. it was yeah.
I knew exactly where I just saw it on his
no.
face. It's like I don't know whether to say this or not, right? Because it might lead to a whole new stream of.
It was, but I managed to
control it.
Yes, I did.
You see that bug-free mind
It
paying
did,
off.
yeah,
For you,
bug-free mind kicked in for me there.
There you go, right? So anyway, I was there and I was my phone rang because obviously somebody needed me, and I turned it off because obviously my attention was on what we were talking about. She wasn't one of those boring ones, right?
You're a class act, mate.
You know, she was pretty interesting. So I turned around and I turned my phone off. And then I thought about it, and because obviously, and then I looked around the restaurant, right? Because it just hit me. I was like,
McDonald's, he means.
right? I looked around the restaurant, and what I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I saw couples, right? Couples that are married, eating dinner, not talking to each other, on their phones. I couldn't. And when you have a wealthy mindset, you don't do that.
No.
And I couldn't understand it. I was just like, no wonder there's a 60% divorce rate or whatever the hell it is.
Yeah.
There. I don't know.
I mean, you think about a simple thing to do is a case of if you're trying to emulate somebody, if you're trying to emulate success of a particular successful person who's got what you're after or something like that, it's a case of all you've got to do is learn to stop and look at your actions and think, well, would this person do this, right? I use a guy in this country who's well known, a guy called Alan Sugar, right? And he spends time on Twitter, right? But when he was building his business, right? When he was at his stage of creating his business right at the start and getting in and really getting it to work, do you think he'd have wasted 2 hours of his day commenting on Twitter? No, of course not. Right? So just because that person may be doing it now doesn't mean they would have been doing it then. You've got to try and look at it from a point of view of, well, what would they have been doing to get it? You know, with me it's a case of I sit there and I sit at home and I'm sitting and I'm optimization, I'm changing a headline, I'm working out, I'm checking some statistics, and I'm doing that sort of thing. And it's what people would say is, oh, well, that's really boring, right? To me, that's fun, yeah, because it's a case of I love getting something to work that doesn't work before. I love making something work from nothing. And my children look at it and go, God, that's boring, Daddy, right? It's a case of, well, that's so boring, isn't it? You know, but it's what you love doing. And it's a case of there has been so many countless hundreds of hours spent in work that you don't know which bit works. You know, you don't know which bit's going to make the breakthrough. And then it was a case
of the journey.
It's a journey, and it's just a case of some. You know, it's I think in Malcolm Gladwell's book Outliers, he says you have to make 1,000 changes, but you don't know which, you have to make them all, but you don't know which one was the one that tripped it over. Right now, it's about 3-4 weeks ago, I said, oh, something's changed. Something was different. All of a sudden, the statistics started to go. There was a big upturn in the curve, and it was like, what's going on? And it's a case of, but I had to keep going until that happened. It wasn't a case of, I didn't think halfway through when I was doing the optimization, I didn't think, oh, this isn't working, I best I quit. No, because that wasn't where I wanted to go. I didn't go, oh, that's no good, I'll go over here then. No, over there is where I'm going. Oh, right, well, I'll just keep going. And so it's really, really slow process. And you know, you could view it and you could say, oh, well, this is painfully slow. Because I enjoy every step of the journey, it wasn't painful to me, right? But it was a case of, I could easily see, if you haven't gone through and experienced phenomenal success, it could easily be painful. But when you know that all you've got to do is just keep going until you get there, you just do it. And
you just do it. It's just, it's natural.
It is.
That's the other thing. It's natural to succeed.
It is, yeah. Yes,
right?
Exactly.
And I don't get it why people will join. You know, we've managed to, with your help with the mindset stuff, the success rates for investing education, right? Let me just give you guys.
Yeah, this is good, yeah.
Is on an industry average about 5%. Now, when we went into it, because I believe in mindset and all this other stuff anyway, where I created our program was to allow people to step into it. And what this did was increased our success rates 30%. And I was annoyed. I was like, this works. It clearly works. Why are there 70% of people not doing it? Or it's not working for them.
Yep.
That's when I asked you to, tell me how can I, re-deliver this program better to get a higher success rate. And with what we did, we bumped it, the success rates are now 70%. And the only difference with that is the element and the structured thinking that comes with the investing.
Yeah.
And we managed to, and once you get that structured thinking right, you remove all the crap in the way. 1% know that building wealth is it's a given. It's not.
Yeah, it's not a case of, I spoke at an investing seminar recently, and I said, right, okay, well, if you don't think the investment's going to work, or if you doubt it in any shape or form, then you shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be doing it. It's a case of, you have to expect that, right, this investment will succeed, right? But I might have a few burns on the way until I get to there, right?
I mean, if you don't think it's going to succeed, why are you doing it?
Yeah.
I don't get that. Why do people do things? The 1% don't do that. Every person that I've met that is in the 1% of income earners do not do that. If they know it's going to fail, guess what they do? Don't do it.
Don't do it. Yeah. It's exactly. Yeah, that's bang on. This is a subtle mindset shift. I mean, it's a case of when you're doing, let's say you're a trader or something, because I know we've got some traders on the call. If you when you get to your point, it's a case of if you can make the decision to take the investment and then just accept whatever happens, then yeah, you've checked everything's right. Okay, do it. If you doubt it's going to work, then you shouldn't press the button. You shouldn't trade. You should go, I'm not going to trade now.
Yeah.
I'm going to go and consider it for a bit more. That's when you use active procrastination. Yeah. And the problem is that you think you're oh no, I don't want to procrastinate. I press the button. Oh, I've lost money. Right? No, that's when you deploy active procrastination.
Yeah.
Because it's so valuable to you. The biggest losses come from when you're doubting it's going to succeed, so you still press the button. When you doubt something, that's the 1% don't think like that. There's one here, fear of failure. I mean, we're going to. I think we should cover fear of failure properly on next time. Oh,
yeah,
you've got some of it, yeah?
No. So we finished the main content what we're going to cover.
Okay.
So what I wanted to do is cover a couple ideas for the next 20 minutes of what we're doing now. And if anyone's got any questions, please type them in and we'll answer them for you as well. So that's open mic time, open chat time.
Cool.
So
go for your.
Oh, okay. So you'd finished with your.
Yeah. I can cover. I don't need to cover that now. I'll cover it another
time.
I
think fear of failure and fear of success is very important, and we want to we don't want to just rush through that.
Let's do that next.
Do that next time. Yeah.
Cool.
Well, let's talk about those guys that we met today.
Okay.
At lunch, right now these annoys me. Right, these guys are on the cusp of a business where just doing 3 deals, right? They're in a broking business. I don't want to go into it because it's obviously personal to them. They're in a broking business, but just 3 deals a year would equal £10 million in income, in net income. 3, and they're stuck. And what did you want to say? You wanted to make a point about that.
I can't remember exactly what the point was, but if you stoke some old data a bit more, I might be able to get it. My point was, right, okay. We met a guy in Dallas, and he was a fascinating guy, and he was his job used to be, he he worked at a club, and his job was to go outside into the streets and basically get, sorry, it was a bar, and get women to come into the bar, and he'd give them a free drink. They get a free drink if they come into the bar.
So that guys like us would go in and spend more money.
There's loads of women in that bar, let's go in that bar, right? So it was a case of his job was to go up to women and talk them in to go and having a drink in the bar. That was it. So he had to go and do this. Anyway, the manager of the club looked at him and looked at all the money that was, all these receipts were coming in for all these free drinks and that sort of thing. And there was 7 guys or 8 guys, something like that. And he was getting more drinks from him than all of the others put together.
More free drink tickets.
So the manager went, he's obviously stealing alcohol somehow. Okay, I'll put a private detective on him. So he put a private detective on him. Private detective came back after a week and went, no, he's really bringing that many women into the club. So then they started to ask him, well, how are you bringing these women into the club? And he had basically developed a technique, which he developed over years, for exactly how to create the right intent, so that he sort of focused his intent in such a way that he was very basically he could go and talk to women and bring them into the club. And it was quite funny when we were in Dallas. You know, he told us about this. Of course, I'm fascinated about the psychological aspect of the intent.
It's the same thing with money.
Yeah, it's the same thing with money, and it's a case of if you, I need, you know, it's a case of, because he said, right, the reason men can't chat up women is because basically they look at it and go, oh crumbs, she's gorgeous, I want to go to bed with her, and that sort of thing, and basically that intent comes over. Because
any women, by the way, listening will know what that feeling feels like.
So the problem is that our natural language is feelings, intuition and that sort of thing. So that's how we're designed to communicate. Words aren't our natural language. So it's a case of this exists, and so all you've got to do is know that it exists and learn to control it, and you can do more things with it. Well, anyway, we're in the bar over in Dallas, and just to prove that this wasn't all hot air, Ty, all of a sudden we're all sitting there having a drink. There's about 6
we were planning this, just having a laugh and working on this JV seminar in Vegas.
And then Ty brings over these 2 women that he just brought out from somewhere. He says, I just brought these ladies over and that sort of thing. It's like, what the hell? But he did it just to show that it was, and they said hello and then they left and that sort of thing. But he did it just to show that basically that it's just a process. And so what happened today? There was a particular issue, and these guys, this particular deal.
We're having lunch. Basically, before we do this show, we go for a 5-hour lunch, and we have a lot of fun.
We're fully concentrating on work, of course.
Yeah, of
course.
We've got it. Just for those bugged up minds, otherwise they're going to get concerned.
But it was lovely, nice. We're in the centre of Canary Wharf in London. Beautiful restaurant, cigar bar, and that sort of thing. Anyway, these guys, they had a particular issue, and Manesh said, well, talk to Andy about it, because he's the mindset guy. He's what's the issue? And they said, we lost this particular deal. And I said, well, first off, I said, you're going with the wrong intent. I said, you're going intending to get your money. What you've got to go intending is that you put 2 happy parties together in the deal. That's the main intent here. And if you just go and work on making sure that party A and party B are happy, right, then your bit, you automatically get paid. You don't have to think about your bit. You never have to consider it again. You just work on making sure party A and party B are very happy, and you put them together, right? That's the intent. Well, party A, the guy selling, basically he'd lost it. He'd had enough, and being as
he'd been messed around.
He'd been messed around before. Lost 5 million on one particular transaction and that sort of thing. And so he'd got fed up and gone, no, I'm not selling now. Now what the guys had done is they'd gone out and found the perfect buyer, somebody who was willing to cut a cheque for this very expensive property in Park Lane.
Hundreds of millions.
So they were willing to cut a cheque from a company. They had a letter of intent, and they were willing to pay over the asking price, and they could close the deal within a week. It doesn't get a better customer than that. But the party A, he'd lost it. He'd had enough. Didn't want to sell it now. Wasn't interested. And they went, oh, they were both looking at it going, well, it's circumstance, it's not our fault.
Yeah,
and I said,
usually what you do, which is it's not my fault, it's someone else's fault.
Yeah. So I said, no. I said, right, okay. Well, the guy still wanted to sell the property, didn't he? Right? He had associated pain with it. So what you need to do is go and talk to him, find out why he wanted to sell it in the first place. Go and chat to him and say, well, what did you want? Why did you want to sell it in the first place? And find out about his life, because it'll be a family issue. It'll be he wanted the cash to do something else. It'll be he wanted to stop working. He wanted to spend more time with his children. And you go and find out about what the issue was, right? And then it's a case of, because he had now got an irrational pain because he was expecting to get let down again. So all they needed to do was go and identify the original reason why he wanted to do it, and then say, look, can we take this pain away from you? If we can do this, and this, can then we still have the deal on the table? If we could do that.
Because they'd be then changing their intent.
Because they're changing their intent. They're trying to help him now. So it's a case of, now that might not, they've said, well, that might not have worked because of this. And I said, right, well, then you go to the next stage. You then humble yourself and say, look, we're two young guys. We're trying to get this to work. We know this is a fantastic deal. Will you please help us? Right? And now it's a case of you're playing on the law of reciprocation and that sort of thing. He's in a position he can help, and he's got no risk involved in it anymore. So now he's happy to help. So there was two ways that they didn't do anything, and they said, they basically were saying, well, it wasn't our fault, it was out of our control, it was circumstance and that sort of thing. No, it's a case of they went there with the wrong intent, right? And then when the person had this blow up, they didn't look at all of the eventualities. I was listening to something Jay Abrahams did this morning, and he said he saw Tony Robbins once speak, and the guy said, I've done everything I can and nothing works. I can't make money. Can't make it work. And Tony Robbins, did his usual, right? And he went, okay, give me the last 30 things, 30 tactical techniques you've deployed to make money. Right? 30 ways you've done to make money in the last 6 months. The guy couldn't say anything. He said, okay, then give me the last 10. The guy mumbled a few words illegibly. Okay, give me the last 2. And the guy had basically done nothing. So he'd done nothing, and nothing worked, and he's all out of ideas. Right? The problem is, I was going along the motorway, and I actually made a point. I actually wrote this down because it was so powerful. We don't look at our options. We don't look at options and close our minds without work. And close our minds with our work. I can't hardly read it because it was all scribbled down as I'm going along. And close our minds with our words. So he said, I've tried everything. No, he hadn't. He tried nothing. I've tried nothing. Nothing works, and I'm flat out of ideas. Basically, he couldn't conceive ways of doing it. He tried nothing. Right? So all that had to happen was, because he'd said, I've tried everything, he now believed it.
Yeah.
He closed his mind with his own words. I did this survey, and I got hundreds and hundreds of replies to these surveys I did yesterday. And I'm reading the question, it's like I would love to just have enough time to go through and show people, because the solution is nearly always in the question they wrote. The seed of the answer is written in the question. When people say to me, I can't do this, right? It's a case of, well, yeah, you believe you can't do it, therefore you're right, you can't do it, right?
The 1%, what I've learned when it comes to money anyway, the 1% will never take a decision or take an action or make a conclusion based on the opinions of others.
Yeah.
Right? They will take actions based on their own knowledge bank. Only if it's like you and me when we were doing property, it's like everyone's saying, yeah, go into property. We weren't doing it.
No.
Right? You were in a little bit earlier than me, and you were the first one. Right? We just did our own research, we did our own everything, and then we decided to go for it. And that's what I think wealthy people do. They
Yeah, exactly. It's a case of they look for a counsel, not opinion, and then they do their own research. I do my own research on things. It's a case of somebody said to me, "This is really good," and I go, "Okay, right. Who said it to me? Oh, somebody I respect. Okay, there's a good chance this is really good. Okay." Or if we had a particular issue we were discussing earlier today, a person, and he says, this person's a waste of space, right? And I went, I don't know if he is yet or not. No, it was a few weeks ago you said it to
A few
me.
weeks ago, so.
And he said, I asked him to provide this one piece of information. He hasn't provided it. If he wasn't a waste of space, he would have been able to provide it. I chased him on it 3 times and he didn't provide it. Therefore, he's a waste of space. And I went, okay, that's a fair point. That's an opinion. It's coming from somebody I respect, so it could be counsel, but at the moment it's an opinion. And I don't need to judge it, so there's no need to rush in. Today, the longer the time lag, though, the more this opinion becomes counsel. Yeah? So I'm not
because
judging
he
it.
knew that person longer than I did, right? The person that we're talking about.
Yeah.
You know the person longer than I did, but I had
He had a gut instinct on it, and he was
gut instinct
probably
on
right.
it firstly, and then the action, which is now just followed up with it.
But to me, I don't need to make a judgment on it because there is no need to judge yet. So I'm open to looking at it, but there's no rush to judge. The problem is everybody wants black and white. Everybody wants the 1% don't want this. Right? They're quite happy to watch and observe and do things slowly. Everybody thinks that people like me and Manesh really do things fast. We don't. We do things really slowly. Yeah. Occasionally, some people do things fast, but they learn their lessons from it. But we do it really slowly. And if you actually look at really successful people, they do things slowly. Yeah, they just take it.
They do things slowly, but it looks fast to others because they don't have
Correct.
any distractions. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
It looks fast to others because the amount of time that it took them to do it slowly, others would have been so distracted with everything else
They're going round and round in circles.
that it feels like the 1% have done it so quickly.
Correct. Yeah.
But it's actually really slowly.
Yeah.
Because they took the time, think one thing at a time, rather than being on Facebook and looking at everyone else's life. It's like with the gold investing thing. So the 1% have taken time, mathematical understanding, and the financial wizardry, if you want to call it that, which is not,
Yeah.
which is what the 99%
It's
perceive
just
it
maths.
as.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's just a tactic. It's I did a seminar recently, and we identified that the problem is I identified that the biggest single cost in investing is your mindset, bar none. It's a case of what you can go and get a tactic that works, and Manesh's brilliant tactic for work because I like it because it's 15 minutes a month. But that's why I like it because it's perfect. But if you're not going to get your mindset right, you're going to cost yourself a fortune in investing. Right?
Simple.
That's it. The biggest cost is your mindset, bar none. And every major investor out there all say the same thing. But everybody doesn't realise it because they think they know that it's mindset, so they don't need to think about it. But what they do need to learn is this other tactic, because that's going to be the key. No, that's not the key. The key is your mindset.
And that's why this show is called Wealthy Minds Decoded, how the 1% think and then invest. There's a reason for that. It's how they think first and then how they invest. That's the importance behind it. There's so much importance to clearly thinking about.
And this isn't
something.
just investing in a particular asset class or anything like that.
Investing in general, by the way. Yeah.
And investing, I invest in business. Yeah.
Me too. Yeah.
Yeah, Manesh does as well. And so to me, it's a case of, but I thought about it so carefully before I did it. I spent ages looking at it going, because I used to just come up with an idea, launch a business, succeed, fail, whatever, on to the next. Yeah. I have no interest in, anything else other than that. Well, now it's a case of, right, well, every time I went into a business, I get bored with it. So it's a case of I hadn't given it enough thought. So what I did with what I do now is I give it a lot of thought. And it's like what we do here. It's a case of, I've always fancied chatting about something I'm interested with, spending time with a friend each month. Yeah, what's not? I've been thinking about that for years. And when it was suggested last month, it was like, yeah, okay, that's all right. That fits into what I want to do with my life.
And are you guys? Let's just clarify this, because we start up businesses from an intention of what we want to create, right? Have you guys been getting value out of this? Just let us know through the questions, so that we know we've done our job right. Now, there's a couple questions here. So let's just answer. So we've got another 10 minutes. Let's answer some, some quick questions. Mary said, Andy, is it better to shout out the anger and let it go, or just try and swallow it by trying to stay positive?
No,
That's a bad way of looking at it.
Positivity, right? Staying positive, right? everyone talks about positive thinking, right? I don't do positive thinking, right? I just don't do negative thinking. Net result is I think positively, yeah, because I don't think negatively. Yeah, so anger, right? It's a case of if you want to get angry, it's like I'll lose it to a computer screen probably about once every 7 or 8 weeks, and it's a case of all of a sudden it'll be something stupid. Microsoft have done one of their updates and shut my computer down without warning and that sort of thing. That's always nice, you know.
Apple don't do that.
Yeah, thanks, Bill. And so it's a case of at some point, whatever, it feels good, but there's no attachment to it. It's like I was chatting to some guys on the site earlier today. I was putting some comments up. One of them said, well, when they can't slow their mind down, they just go stop, right, and that's it, and shock it, and the mind silences, and that sort of thing. And I used to use that as a technique as well, and it was a transitional technique. Now it's sort of like, you know, if I notice my mind's getting a little bit noisy, I just sort of look at it and start to smile, because it's like, oh right, okay, so you're trying to take back control of my mind, are you? I don't think so. I'm aware of your presence, sort of thing, and I regain control of my mind just like that. If you want to, sorry, what was that? I've lost the train of thought.
Read it exactly. Is it better to shout out the anger and let it go, or try and swallow it by trying to stay positive?
If you're angry, it's a case of you've got to look at it and go, well, why are you angry? Yeah.
That's a really bad question, by the way, because when you say try and stay positive,
yeah, there is no.
I don't understand that.
There is no effort in staying positive.
It's like somebody saying, try and make money.
Yeah, but you don't.
It's like, no guys, try, right? I think they'll be able to see that in their right. So I just grab something that has weight and is affected by gravity and put it out on the desk in front of you. Okay, try this with me, guys. I'm going to use you as a guinea pig. You've already seen it before, right? But just play along, yeah? I want you to try and pick that up. You guys, follow along. Try and pick whatever's in front of you up. No. You just picked it up.
Yeah.
I said try and pick it up. No, that's not picking it up. I want you to try and pick it up.
Hang on.
That's not picking it up, though. Try and pick it up. That's not picking it up. You just holding it.
Yeah, sort of.
That's not. So that was picking it up. But see, you're swaying between doing it and not doing it. There is no damn try. Does that make sense?
I said to he said to me about a month ago. He says, I'm having trouble trying to do this. And I said, well, stop bloody trying then.
Yeah.
Right. We'll
fall for it. We'll do it.
We just
catch ourselves.
It's a case of, if you're angry, okay, why are you angry? Well, some idiot has done something stupid. Okay. Well, how is your being angry helping you? Right.
And how is it helping that idiot get smarter?
So I only do things that are of benefit to me. Right. So I am a benefits-driven creature. We all are naturally benefits-driven creatures. If you look at a cat is like the ultimate Zen master. The cat only does what the cat wants to do. Stuff what you want me to do, I'm only doing that. Right? Now, it's a case of, so how is you being angry helping anyone? Helping you. Is it being any use? Now, there is a slight use in the venting. Yeah? So it's a case of, I've been vented, right? And it's a case of if you can learn to just drop it straight away, there is a slight use there, because it's always good to let go for a second. But how is it on a general basis helping you? It's not. And if it's not helping you, it's hurting you. Nothing stands still. It either helps you get there or it takes you away from it.
We should write that down. We should do that next time.
What's that?
We should go into that. No thought stands still.
Okay, I'll make a note of that.
I think that's powerful.
Yep.
Right. Doesn't seem to be any other questions, guys. So, guys, if you've got any feedback, what I'd like you to do is go to our Facebook page, and you're going to monitor the comments on that while I'm off it. And
you're not allowed then, eh?
I'm not allowed.
Oh, right.
Facebook.com/Wealthy Minds Decoded. And also you can go to wealthymindsdecoded.com, leave a comment. This show will be put up on YouTube, and then also it will be drip fed via podcast for anyone who's bad enough to miss us live, because they should be punished.
Oh yeah, before we go, anything you want us to cover,
comment
comment. Yeah. If you think, oh, I've got this issue or something like that, and you want us to go into it, just comment on it, and we'll bring it on.
Yeah, and we'll cover some more about, especially when it comes to.
Well, we're going to cover. It's a case of I got a few comments yesterday. A lot of people, I cover the fear of failure a lot in my books, but people still want me to go deeper on that, so I'm going to go really deep on it. Fear of success. This is the underlying problem that everybody doesn't realise they have, which is the fear of success. Worthy of success was a really good one. We'll cover that next month, because people don't feel they're worthy of success, and I'll cover why the 1%, how the 1% think about fear of failure, and how the 1% think about the fear of success, and how they think about their worthiness of success and that sort of thing. Yeah. And I'll show you how their minds work on that. Does that sound good?
Yeah, and I got some feedback on my investing podcast where somebody said, "Can you elaborate on the European situation? What's the debt in Europe?"
Yeah.
So I think what
it's always an interesting one.
That's always an interesting one. I think what we'll discuss next time with a little bit more is how, with all the debt in Europe and all the bad media attention around wealth, and wealth disappearing, right? It doesn't really disappear; it's just transferred.
Yeah, it just moves around. Yeah.
How the 1% are actually reacting to that and investing in certain ways and controlling their mindset for that. So, on that note,
well, hang on.
Okay.
We might be doing a webinar this month as well. Might be doing something if we get round to actually organising it, where we were going to do it, and it was going to be on investing and that sort of thing. So it'll be just a pure investing one. So if you're interested in that sort of thing, just look out for an email from me on that.
Well, we haven't got the opt-in box set up on the website, so go to.
That's right. I'll sort it out.
Comment or whatever, and we'll sort it out. I'm just looking if there's anything nice. Melly, we are interested in coming to.
Yes, we're interested in coming to Vegas.
In case we haven't made that clear. So send me an email as long as the numbers are right and everything like that, and we can have fun. That's the main thing.
Got to have fun. Got to give value.
Yeah, as long as we can give value, have fun, and the numbers are right, we'll come. And the next show is, I just brought the calendar up and I lost it again. Right, here we go. The 2nd of August.
And the Olympics will be going on
there.
Over there, right? So I'm going to be probably coming up the night before and travelling at night, so I don't have the 3-hour tailbacks to get here.
And I'm going to be leaving the country soon after that.
I'll be kipping down over there somewhere because there's no hotel rooms available in London at that time.
It's going to be fun. Let's put it like that, right? So make sure you share the program if you enjoyed it. Guys, we have our own respective businesses. We wanted to do this to make sure you guys get a lot of value and understand how wealthy minds think and invest, because those are the two most important things if you want to get better at thinking and have what you want and invest and actually make some money. So I hope you found it of some value, and make sure you go out and share it and get more people, get your friends onto the next program. So wealthymindsdecoded.com is the website to send them to. Cool. Anything else you need to say?
No.
So signing off, and we shall speak to you. Well, you'll see us next month, and we'll speak to you on the podcast over the next 4 weeks. So look out for that.
Thank you very much.
And speak to you soon. Bye-bye.